Chapter 44-24. Wan Shen's attacks landed on Yi Chu Tianji's shield, causing it to explode. However, Yi Chu Tianji managed to gain a brief window of opportunity to rush out of the battle stage. Although the battle stage wasn't small, for an expert like Yi Chu Tianji, it would only take him a short moment to rush out of the battle stage if he went all out. If it wasn't for the huge difference in combat power, it would have been very difficult to kill him. However, Yi Chu Tianji's escape from the fighting ring meant that he had lost. What a pity! Wan Shen muttered. He was very unhappy that he couldn't kill Yi Chu Tianji on the fighting ring as he wished. Of course, Yi Chu Tianji was even more unhappy. He had lost again. He had already lost twice in a row in a battle between 12-star combatants. If this continued, he wouldn't even have a chance to get into the top 4, let alone compete for first place. He made him furious and impatient. Yi Chu Tianji lost again. He has lost twice in a row. It seems that Yi Chu Tianji's strength is at the bottom among the 7 12-star combatants. I heard that Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Chu Hongya's strength are about the same. I'm afraid the two of them won't be able to get into the top 4. Now, only Xian Yanxing and Lu Ming haven't fought with someone of the same level. I wonder how strong they are. If they are weaker than Yi Chu Tianji, they might still have a chance. If they are stronger than Yi Chu Tianji, then Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Chu Hongya won't have a chance. If that's the case, the 9 heavenly children of the heavenly human tribe will be completely wiped out. The surrounding people discussed animatedly. This made the faces of the heavenly human tribe very ugly, including the heavenly venerables and the Lord of Heaven. Indeed, the results of the 9 heavenly children of the heavenly human tribe could be said to be terrible. It was possible that none of them would be able to get into the top 4. This was a great humiliation for the heavenly children of the heavenly human tribe. This was because the heavenly children of the heavenly human tribe were synonymous with invincibility. It was easy for them to suppress the other prodigies of the universe. Now, the strongest heavenly children of the heavenly human tribe were losing consecutively. If it weren't for the fact that Yi Chuxian had appeared out of nowhere and managed to save some face for the heavenly human tribe, the heavenly human tribe would have been utterly humiliated. The Lord of Heaven's celestial exalt's expressions were grim as their bodies constantly emitted powerful pressure, making it difficult for many people to breathe. Looks of terror appeared on their faces. The myriad god did not mind at all. He laughed and returned to the lotus. Congratulations, myriad god. Lu Ming smiled and congratulated him. It's a pity that we can't kill him on the fighting ring. Lu Ming, I'll leave this important task to you. Myriad god sighed, a look of pity on his face. Don't worry, unless he admits defeat, I'll definitely kill him. Lu Ming said. He deliberately raised his voice so that everyone could hear him. This was a blatant provocation. The purpose was to make it difficult for Yi Chu Tianji to admit defeat when he met Lu Ming later. Damn it, despicable bastard, I'll tear you apart, Yi Chu Tianji growled in his heart as he stared at Lu Ming with a murderous look. He wished he could tear Lu Ming apart. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, you said it so loudly. If he hears it, I'm afraid he'll just admit defeat. The myriad god laughed and continued to provoke Yi Chu Tianji. At this moment, the next round of the competition continued. However, the following rounds were all battles between 11-star combat strength. Although they were equally exciting, the crowd was no longer interested in them. What they wanted to see was a battle between 12-star combat strength. They wanted to see who would be able to stand out from the crowd, seize the first place, and truly suppress an era. In this round, Lu Ming's opponent was an 11-star combat strength existence, Di Jiani. Di Jiani's eyes opened and closed, revealing a strong battle intent. The battle sword in his hand kept trembling, but in the end, he did not attack and chose to admit defeat. He knew about Yin Jioling's strength. Since Lu Ming could easily kill Yin Jioling, he knew that he was definitely not Lu Ming's match. Lu Ming, it's nothing to be ahead temporarily. Sooner or later, I will catch up with you and even surpass you. After Di Jiani admitted defeat, he secretly sent a message to Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled faintly and was not bothered. After a while, the 8th round of the competition ended. After the 8th round of the competition ended, the 9th round of the competition began. In the 9th round, it was still the same as before. Although the battle between 11-star combat strength was exciting, it did not attract the crowd's attention. Most of the people's attention was on the battle between 12-star combat strength. In the 5th round of the 9th round, there was finally another battle between 12-star combat strength. Xian Yanqing and Dark Knight Rose. Two exceptional ladies stood opposite each other. Sky-devouring Rose, long time no see. Xian Yanqing spoke faintly and sent a message to Dark Knight Rose's ears. She stared at Dark Knight Rose without blinking. Dark Knight Rose's pupils shrank abruptly. She did not know why, but there was a tinge of fear in her eyes. However, it disappeared in a flash. I never thought that there would be a day when we would meet again. Dark Knight Rose replied with a voice transmission. Surrender and continue to rely on me. You should know my character. I will not mistreat you. Xian Yanqing said. Impossible. Dark Knight Rose shook her head and said coldly, back then, I signed a contract with you to be your pet. Now that you and I have reincarnated, the effect of the contract has long disappeared. You can forget about controlling me. Back then, I never thought of controlling you. I have always treated you like a sister. However, your ambition has never disappeared. Instead, it is getting bigger and bigger. Xian Yanqing said. I am the sky-devouring Rose. I am unique in the universe. My talent is peerless. No one can control me. On the contrary, I should be the one controlling the universe. What is the heavenly human race? What is the human race? Only I, who is unique, am the noblest creature in the universe. As Dark Knight Rose spoke, the madness in her eyes became more and more intense. They seemed to know each other. What are they talking about? The surrounding people were curious. Xian Yanqing and Dark Knight Rose were communicating with each other through voice transmission. The surrounding people could not hear them, but they could see that the two of them were communicating. They were very curious. The few heavenly venerables of the heavenly human race looked at each other as if they had thought of something. Their eyes were filled with light. It seems that you want to fight with me. Are you sure you are my opponent? Xian Yanqing said coldly. The demonic qi around his body almost turned into stone. Many black lotus flowers appeared. Dark Knight Rose's eyes flickered a few times. She seemed to be hesitating and struggling. However, in less than a breath, Dark Knight Rose made a decision. She smiled sweetly and said, everyone has their own ambitions. However, it is not necessarily impossible for us to work together. There is no need to harm the harmony between us. I will let you win this battle. After saying that, Dark Knight Rose floated back and returned to the lotus flower. Chapter 44-25. Dark Knight Rose returned to the lotus and admitted defeat. Xian Yanqing did not pursue and allowed Dark Knight Rose to leave the fighting ring. In this world, no one knew better than her how terrifying the heaven-devouring Wild Rose was. Although she had the means to counter the Dark Knight Rose, if she really wanted to fight, even if she could win, it wouldn't be that easy. She would have to go through a bitter battle. Xian Yanqing won the battle and many people were disappointed. After all, Xian Yanqing had not fought with a 12-star battle strength until now. He was still mysterious and gave off an unfathomable feeling. In this way, it would be difficult to speculate who was stronger and who was weaker among the 7 existences with 12-star battle prowess. After Xian Yanqing and Dark Knight Rose, there were a few more 11-star battles. When the 8th battle of the 9th round began, there was finally another heavyweight battle. Yi Qiuxian vs Yi Linghongya. It was another battle between the heavenly human tribe. Facing Yi Qiuxian, Yi Linghongya's face was solemn. However, it was impossible for her to admit defeat. Her strength was similar to Yi Chu Tianji's. Yi Chu Tianji had lost to Yi Qiuxian, but it did not mean that she would lose. There were some people who could restrain each other. Moreover, the difference in strength between them was not that big. She might have a chance of winning. Unfortunately, Yi Ling Hongye was disappointed as soon as they exchanged blows. Yi Qiuxian's battle strength was above her expectations. They did not exchange many blows and Yi Ling Hongye was already at a disadvantage. After about 100 blows, Yi Ling Hongye coughed out blood and retreated. She was severely injured. Yi Qiuxian won the battle without any suspense. Yi Qiuxian's strength is really strong. He should have reached the limit of 12-star battle strength. Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongye should only have average 12-star battle strength. That's right. Among the 7 of them, I still think that Yi Qiuxian has the highest chance of winning. However, Dark Knight Rose and Wanshan have defeated Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongye respectively. Their chances are also very high. Don't forget that the Dark Knight Rose can restrain the ultimate heavenly energy. Yi Qiuxian might not be a match for the Dark Knight Rose. However, the Dark Knight Rose admitted defeat in front of Xian Yanqing. This battle, everyone was discussing and analyzing, but the more they analyzed, the more complicated the situation became. From the looks of it, Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongye were not very competitive, but the same could not be said for the others. Even though Yi Qiuxian's battle prowess seemed to be unparalleled, the venom of the Dark Knight Rose was able to devour the utmost heaven's powers. If they were to fight, it was hard to say who would win. However, Dark Knight Rose seemed to be extremely wary of Xian Yanqing. She directly admitted defeat against Xian Yanqing. And Xian Yanqing admitted defeat in front of Lu Ming. As a result, the battle situation became complicated. Even heavenly venerates would find it difficult to determine who would emerge victorious. After the battle between Yi Qiuxian and Yi Ling Hongye, there was nothing worth paying attention to in the 9th round. Lu Ming did not encounter any strong opponents in this round and easily defeated them. Soon, the 10th round began. In the 10th round, Lu Ming finally met a decent opponent. Yi Chu Tianji. In the 3rd match of the 10th round, Lu Ming met Yi Chu Tianji. It has finally begun. Lu Ming, the Forbidden Body, has finally met a strong opponent. This match is very important. If Lu Ming can defeat Yi Chu Tianji, it will prove that he has the qualifications to compete for first place. If he is not a match for Yi Chu Tianji, or if they can only fight to a draw, then he will not have the qualifications to compete for first place, even if Wanshan and Xian Yanqing admit defeat in front of him. That's right. Let's see if Lu Ming can defeat Yi Chu Tianji. Everyone was discussing. When Yi Chu Tianji heard this, he almost vomited blood. What was the meaning of this? This was clearly using him to measure the strength of others. He had become a stepping stone for others. Only by stepping over him would they have the qualifications to compete for first place. He was the strongest son of heaven. Before entering the Taishang Immortal City, he only had one opponent, Yi Ling Hongye, who was able to suppress an era. Who would have thought that he would become a stepping stone for others to measure their strength? Humiliation, endless humiliation. Lu Ming, I must defeat him. Yi Chu Tianji roared. He needed to win a match, and it would be best if he could defeat Lu Ming. Lu Ming had the Forbidden Body. The name of the Forbidden Body had shaken the universe for eons. Only by defeating Lu Ming could he wash away the humiliation on him. Yi Chu Tianji, I'll give you a chance. Admit defeat, lest I have to take action. Lu Ming said calmly with a mocking look on his face. Don't even think about it. Yi Chu Tianji's eyes were filled with anger. The aura on his body erupted like a volcano. Roar. 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 3 types of heaven's force condensed into 3 ferocious beasts. They let out earth-shattering roars and pounced towards Lu Ming. The 3 ferocious beasts were as big as mountains. One of them was formed by heaven's punishment energy. Dense lightning could be seen on its body. Every time it struck, endless lightning would strike out. Its power was terrifying. An 11-star battle power of the same cultivation level would be severely injured in a single strike. The other one was gray and was formed by heaven's extermination energy. The third one was a goshawk. It exuded an extremely sharp aura. It was formed by heaven's punishment energy. The three ferocious beasts were as big as mountains. Their violent auras pressed towards Lu Ming crazily. It was as if a few hundred planets were smashing towards Lu Ming. Yi Chu Tianji's battle power was not weak. Even the most ordinary divine master would have to avoid such an attack. Unfortunately, his opponent was even more perverted. Especially Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming activated the battle character art and unleashed his forbidden force. His body soared into the sky and punched out continuously. The fist force left his body and expanded rapidly. It collided with the three ferocious beasts. The speed of their attacks was too fast. In just an instant, the two sides had exchanged more than 50 blows. "Break for me!" Lu Ming roared. His aura erupted like a raging tide. His fist force surged and had the power to break through everything. The terrifying power continued to gather and condense. Finally, it exploded with a loud bang. With a loud bang, one of the three ferocious beasts formed by Yi Chu Tianji exploded. Yi Chu Tianji's body trembled and he could not help but retreat. As he retreated, Lu Ming's power became even more unrestrained. It was unstoppable. Bam! Bam! The remaining two ferocious beasts of Yi Chu Tianji also exploded. The power that Lu Ming had gathered rushed towards Yi Chu Tianji crazily. Yi Chu Tianji's body shook violently. The sound of bones cracking could be heard from his body. He spat out mouthfuls of blood and his face turned pale. Kill! Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning. His killing intent was like a rainbow as he charged towards Yi Chu Tianji with unparalleled power. He had promised Wan Shen that he would kill Yi Chu Tianji on the fighting stage. Chapter 44-26. Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning as he charged at Yi Chu Tianji with a chilling killing intent. He swore to kill Yi Chu Tianji on the fighting ring. Yi Chu Tianji's face revealed a trace of fear as he frantically retreated, wanting to leave the battle ring. After the previous exchange, he knew that he was no match for Lu Ming. If he continued to fight, he might be killed by Lu Ming. Therefore, he decided to admit defeat by leaving the fighting ring. "You want to leave? Do you think you can?" Lu Ming's cold voice rang out as he caught up with Yi Chu Tianji in an instant. He waved his hand and spear radiance shot toward Yi Chu Tianji. "Block it!" Yi Chu Tianji roared as he used all his strength to attack. He unleashed the three supreme heavenly powers to the maximum and formed three giant beasts in front of him. As long as he could stop Lu Ming for a few moments, he would be able to fly out of the fighting ring. However, Lu Ming knew what he was thinking. At this moment, light spots lit up all over Lu Ming's body. There were tens of thousands of light spots. Tens of thousands of light spots, each of them incomparably bright, like stars. These were the cells that had been fused with secret skill runes. Lu Ming had activated tens of thousands of secret skills. Countless rays of light filled the air around him. The surrounding spectators all widened their eyes in shock as they witnessed this scene. "Oh my God, am I seeing things? These are all secret skills?" "Yes, they are definitely secret skills. Those that are brighter must be ancient secret skills. Those that are dimmer must be ordinary secret skills. Oh my God, there are more than 1,800 secret skills and tens of thousands of ordinary secret skills. How did he cultivate all of them? How can a person master so many secret skills? Pervert, pervert." Countless people exclaimed in disbelief. Ordinary people usually cultivated a few secret skills. It was already good enough if they could cultivate a few secret skills to the greater success level. This was especially true for ancient secret techniques. Not to mention that most of them had already been lost. Even if they still existed, the average person would only cultivate one type of secret technique. They would constantly unearth and comprehend it to develop its might. To be able to cultivate several ancient secret techniques at the same time was already quite impressive, and could be considered a top genius. However, compared to Lu Ming, there was simply a world of difference. The difference was too great. They could not imagine how a person could have so much energy to cultivate so many secret techniques. Even a taboo body would find it difficult to do so. While everyone was still in shock, Lu Ming had already made his move. Great sealing art, great binding art, great cage art, Lu Ming shouted and pushed out with both hands. Various trapping ancient secret techniques were launched at Yichu Tianji. This secret technique swept past the three beasts conjured by Yichu Tianji and appeared around him. All of a sudden, countless runes appeared from the great sealing art and silently crawled up Yichu Tianji's body, covering his entire body. These runes intertwined with each other to form a powerful sealing formation that was about to seal Yichu Tianji away. "Break for me!" Yichu Tianji roared. All kinds of energy burst out of his body in an attempt to break the great sealing art. However, Lu Ming did not just use the great sealing art. The great binding art created thick vines that looked like they were made of metal and wrapped around Yichu Tianji. The great prison technique formed a large prison, trapping Yichu Tianji within. Yichu Tianji was surrounded by all sorts of ancient secret techniques that were used to trap enemies. Yichu Tianji unleashed all his energy in an attempt to break these secret techniques. With his strength, it was not difficult for him to break one or two secret techniques in an instant. However, it would be difficult for him to break 8 to 10 secret techniques in an instant. What Lu Ming wanted was to trap Yichu Tianji for an instant. This was because Lu Ming had already arrived. Whoosh! Lu Ming formed a long spear with his taboo power and stabbed it at Yichu Tianji's forehead. It was as fast as lightning and as swift as thunder. It was powerful and shocking. Ah! Break! Break! Yichu Tianji roared madly, trying to break open a crack and escape. However, it was too late. Lu Ming's spear light was about to reach him. At this moment, he really did want to admit defeat. However, he hesitated the moment he was about to do so. After all, he had previously declared that he would kill Lu Ming. At that time, he had been so proud, confident, and arrogant. He had thought that he was invincible and that only Yi Ling Hongye could match him in the entire world. At that time, he had not taken Lu Ming seriously. Even if his opponent had a taboo body, he was still confident that he could suppress him. However, not only had he suffered consecutive defeats, but he also had to admit defeat in front of Lu Ming. He could not do it. Because of this hesitation, Lu Ming would not give him a chance. Yichu Tianji also lost the chance to admit defeat. Whoosh! The dazzling spear light was faster than lightning and pierced Yichu Tianji's forehead. With a puff, Yichu Tianji's forehead was directly pierced by the spear light. The terrifying destructive power in the spear light exploded in an instant. Yichu Tianji's head exploded, and he died on the spot. This scene caused the scene to fall into silence. Many people revealed looks of shock in their eyes. Yichu Tianji had been killed. This was the first time that someone with a 12-star battle strength had been killed on the fighting stage. In the previous battles, even if he was no match for Yichu, he could still escape. But now, Yichu Tianji, the once invincible son of heaven of the heavenly palace, had been killed by Lu Ming on the fighting stage. This was extremely shocking. Fortunately, he could be resurrected here. If it was outside, Yichu Tianji would have been dead. The once strongest son of heaven of the heavenly human tribe would have completely fallen. After Yichu Tianji was killed, his corpse turned into streaks of light and flew back to the lotus. In the next moment, Yichu Tianji was reformed. Lu Ming, Yichu Tianji stared at Lu Ming with hatred in his eyes. Of course, there was also a trace of fear. Although he had been resurrected, it was true that he had been killed by Lu Ming. He had truly felt the smell of death. That feeling made his heart tremble. Unknowingly, he had developed a trace of fear toward Lu Ming. This was instinctive. Ha ha ha, good kill, good, 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 the myriad god laughed. Previously, Lu Ming had promised him that he would kill Yi Chu Tianji on the fighting stage. Now, he had done it. The strongest son of heaven is just so. Lu Ming held the spear formed by the forbidden power and pointed it at Yi Chu Tianji. His voice was filled with contempt. Damn it, Yi Chu Tianji roared in his heart. The other members of the heavenly human tribe also roared. They either glared at Lu Ming angrily or stared at Lu Ming with murderous intent. Chapter 44-27. Lu Ming had killed Yi Chu Tianji on the spot. To the heavenly human tribe, this was a great humiliation. Yi Chu Tianji was known as the strongest son of heaven and was one of the two strongest people in the younger generation of the heavenly human tribe. He represented the heavenly human tribe. Killing Yi Chu Tianji in public was equivalent to slapping the heavenly human tribe in the face. The heavenly human tribe was naturally displeased. Yi Qiuxian, you must avenge Yi Chu Tianji. Yi Qiuxian, you must kill Lu Ming. Many heavenly human tribe members roared and pinned their hopes on Yi Qiuxian. Yi Qiuxian was the only one in the heavenly human tribe who could deal with Lu Ming. When Lu Ming killed Yi Chu Tianji, he only displayed 12-star combat strength. He did not reveal his 13-star combat strength. Therefore, everyone thought that Lu Ming only had 12-star combat strength. With the combat strength that Yi Qiuxian had displayed, he might be able to deal with Lu Ming. Amidst the hubbub, the competition continued. Next, there were a few battles between 11-star combat strength. After that, the 9th round was over. Soon, the 10th round began. The first battle of the 10th round was a heavyweight battle between 12-star combat strength. Wanshan vs. Xianyanqing. This, Lu Ming was a little stunned. He did not want to see a battle between Wanshan and Xianyanqing. However, according to the rules of the competition, they would meet sooner or later. I hope it won't hurt their friendship. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. However, it was not convenient for him to intervene. One was his best friend and the other was his wife. He did not want to see either of them get hurt. At this time, the surrounding people were also discussing and guessing who was stronger between Wanshan and Xianyanqing. Wanshan had previously defeated Yi Chu Tianji and had already displayed his powerful combat strength. As for Xianyanqing, he had always been very mysterious. Until now, he had never crossed swords with an existence with 12-star battle prowess. However, when Dark Knight Rose faced Xianyanqing, she immediately admitted defeat. This made people wonder how strong Xianyanqing was. They wanted to see Xianyanqing's strength through this competition. On the battle stage, Wanshan and Xianyanqing faced each other. Myriad God looked at Xianyanqing before looking at Lu Ming. Finally, he shook his head and said, "There's no need to fight this round. I admit defeat." Xianyanqing was also taken aback. He never expected myriad gods to admit defeat so quickly. The surrounding people were also stunned and speechless. He wanted to use this battle to see Xianyanqing's strength, but he never expected myriad god to admit defeat again. I'm friends with Lu Ming and you're Lu Ming's wife. That means we're on the same side. I don't want to fight with my own people. Moreover, you give me the feeling that you're very strong and threatening. Even if we really fight, I don't have the confidence to win. I might as well admit defeat, the myriad god mumbled before returning to the lotus with a flicker. Xianyanqing won this battle. The first battle of the 10th round ended in a hurry. They thought there would be an exciting battle, but the result was disappointing. After that, 8 consecutive battles were between 11-star experts or 11-star experts against 12-star experts. It was either not exciting enough or there was no suspense. When it was the 10th battle of the 10th round, the crowd finally began to get excited. This was because this battle was between Yi Qiuxian and Dark Knight Rose. The two top experts finally faced off. Regardless of whether it was Yi Qiuxian or Dark Knight Rose, they were both considered to have the highest chance of obtaining first place. Yi Qiuxian defeated Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongye consecutively and became the true number one expert of the heavenly human tribe. As for Dark Night Rose, she was a sky-devouring rose flower. She was extremely strange, and the poison she produced could even devour the ultimate power of heaven of the heavenly human tribe. Previously, when she fought Yi Ling Hongye, she devoured Yi Ling Hongye's ultimate power of heaven, causing Yi Ling Hongye to become weaker and weaker. In the end, she was defeated by Dark Night Rose. This caused the crowd to have a guess. Since Dark Night Rose's poison could devour Yi Ling Hongye's ultimate power of heaven, could it devour Yi Qiuxian's ultimate power of heaven? In theory, it could. Since it could devour Yi Ling Hongye's poison, it could also devour Yi Qiuxian's poison. However, Yi Qiuxian's strength was stronger, and it was hard to say. Therefore, who was stronger between Dark Night Rose and Yi Qiuxian had always been the focus of the crowd's discussion. Everyone had their own opinions. However, they had to let the facts speak for themselves. Only when the two of them fought would they know who was stronger. Now, they were finally going to face off. After a round of discussion, the crowd quietened down and looked at the fighting ring quietly, waiting for the battle to break out. Handsome guy from the heavenly human tribe, you are no match for me. Why don't you just admit defeat? We can be friends and get closer in the future. Dark Night Rose's eyes were like water as she stared at Yi Qiuxian. Her voice was filled with charm. Dark Night Rose was an outstanding beauty. Whether it was her figure or her appearance, they were the best in the universe. Facing Dark Night Rose, not many people could resist her temptation. Many of the younger generation around them swallowed their saliva and stared at Dark Night Rose with their eyes wide open. However, Yi Qiuxian's expression was normal and he was unmoved. Make your move. Let me see how powerful your poison is. Yi Qiuxian said indifferently. Yi Qiuxian said indifferently. His voice was cold. However, within that cold voice, there was an invincible conviction. How boring and unromantic. Then don't blame me for being heartless. Before she could finish her sentence, Dark Night Rose made her move. She shouted softly and pushed her hands forward. Suddenly, rays of dark golden light exploded around Yi Qiuxian. These rays of light immediately enveloped Yi Qiuxian. These rays of light were both an attack and a lethal poison. Bam! Yi Qiuxian made his move. The moment he moved, 3 different types of heaven's powers exploded. The 3 types of heaven's powers formed 3 different colored battle swords and slashed out. The sword chi whistled and pierced through the dark golden light. Yi Qiuxian's body rushed out and charged towards Dark Night Rose at an astonishing speed. The sword chi whistled and hundreds of sword lights slashed towards Dark Night Rose. Dark Night Rose's face was solemn. A huge rose appeared in her hand. The rose was dark golden. When the petals opened, the center of the petals was like a strange black hole. It was like a bottomless abyss that was filled with terror. From the black hole, dark golden light rushed out continuously and densely towards Yi Qiuxian. Boom! 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 Both of their attacks collided and an earth-shattering explosion erupted. The 3-colored sword light and the dark golden light collided continuously. The entire fighting ring was covered by various kinds of light. The speed was too fast. In an instant, both of them had exchanged more than 100 moves. However, there was still no clear winner. Chapter 44-28. Kill. Yi Qiuxian roared as he controlled the 3 swords to launch a fierce attack. The sword chi was like a torrential wave that swept towards Dark Night Rose. The attack was extremely terrifying. It was as though anything that stood in its way would be destroyed mercilessly. The petite Dark Night Rose looked as though she would be torn into pieces by the boundless sword chi at any time. However, the Dark Night Rose was as steady as a mountain. The rose in her hand seemed to be emitting boundless dark golden light. It was bursting forth unceasingly, blocking Yi Qiuxian's tide-like sword aura. If this goes on, Yi Qiuxian will be in danger. Someone sighed, winning the approval of the others. Especially those from the heavenly human tribe. Their faces were solemn. Previously, when Dark Knight Rose and Yiling Hongye fought, they were in the same state. In the beginning, they were evenly matched. However, later on, Yiling Hongye was poisoned by Dark Knight Rose's poison and the poison started to devour her ultimate heaven energy. Yiling Hongye became weaker and weaker and was defeated by Dark Knight Rose in the end. The current situation was exactly the same as before. It was obvious that Dark Knight Rose wanted to use the same method to defeat Yi Qiuxian. The longer the battle dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for Yi Qiuxian. If Yi Qiuxian was defeated, the heavenly human tribe would suffer a crushing defeat. When the news spread across the universe, the heavenly human tribe's reputation would suffer a great blow. Yi Qiuxian had obviously thought of this too. Triple demise sword formation, kill. Yi Qiuxian shouted as his heavenly energy exploded. The three swords that were formed by the ultimate heaven energy quickly grew in size and stood tall between the heavens and earth. The three swords formed a strange pattern and formed a sword formation. Boom! 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 The heavens and earth shook and the battle stage shook violently. The sword formation formed a gigantic sword light that fell from the sky and pierced towards Dark Knight Rose's head. Terrifying. It was truly terrifying. The power of this move was extremely terrifying. It was much stronger than the sword chi wave from before. It was obvious that Yi Qiuxian had not used his full strength previously. He had not used his killer move and had only used a normal attack. At this moment, the sword formation was the true killing move. Its power was simply too shocking. The gigantic sword light gave off a strong pressure. Ordinary emperor gods would not be able to block such a sword light. Their minds would have collapsed before they even came into contact with it. Of course, it did not mean that the power of this move had surpassed the 12-star level and reached the 13-star level. Not at all. The further one's cultivation level, the harder it was to raise one's level. Once one's cultivation level, it would be extremely difficult to raise one's cultivation level. But without a doubt, this move had definitely reached the limit of a 12-star battle prowess. Dark Knight Rose will be defeated. Dark Knight Rose will be defeated. Yi Qiuxian is truly astonishing. Even at a time like this, he actually still has a trump card up his sleeve. Once he unleashes his trump card, he will be able to defeat the Dark Knight Rose as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. With that, her poison will be rendered ineffective. Facing this sword, many people cried out in surprise. As for Dark Knight Rose herself, her expression was solemn. Sky, 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 Rose. Dark Knight Rose yelled. Her body emitted a dark golden light. Her body was shrouded in the light. In the next moment, the light disappeared, and the Dark Knight Rose's body also disappeared. What replaced it was an incomparably huge rose. That rose was over 300 meters tall. Furthermore, it was growing at an astonishing speed. It appeared to be exactly the same as the rose that Dark Knight Rose held in her hand earlier. However, its aura was much more terrifying. That was Dark Knight Rose's real body. The real sky-devouring rose. Boom! The huge sword light pierced the heaven-devouring rose, exploding with a shocking boom. Then, the sword light vibrated and collapsed. As for the heaven-devouring rose, it shook violently and retreated. However, the roots of the sky-devouring rose extended out and took root in the void, stabilizing its body. Triple sword formation. Slash, slash, slash. Yi Qiuxian shouted slash 3 times. His aura was like thunder. Then, the 3 swords in the sword formation vibrated. This time, 3 sword lights appeared and slashed towards Dark Knight Rose. The 3 sword lights were all incomparably large and terrifyingly powerful. They looked as if they were going to crush the sky-devouring rose. However, at this moment, the sky-devouring rose's flower suddenly grew in size. In an instant, it covered the entire sky. The black hole in the middle of the flower was especially large. It was like a giant mouth that devoured humans. A terrifying devouring power erupted from the black hole and bit down on the three sword lights. Buzz! The three sword lights vibrated non-stop and released sword lights to attack the flower petals. However, they were all devoured by the terrifying devouring power and were all sucked into the black hole. Furthermore, the flower continued to grow in size. Its devouring power continued to erupt and devour the three sword lights. It was going to devour the three sword lights. The sword lights vibrated and fought against the sky-devouring rose. However, they were no match for the sky-devouring rose and collapsed. After all, it was only three sword lights. It was normal for them to not be able to last long. After devouring the three sword lights, the sky-devouring rose began to charge towards Yi Qiuxian. It was going to devour Yi Qiuxian and the three swords. Yi Qiuxian's gaze was calm. He was under the protection of the three swords. At the same time, the three swords were arranged in a mysterious trajectory and were rotating continuously. The speed was sometimes fast and sometimes slow. In the process of rotating, powerful sword lights were formed and slashed towards Dark Knight Rose continuously. For a moment, both sides were in a stalemate. Soon, both sides were in a stalemate for a few minutes. At this moment, a dark golden light suddenly spread out from Yi Qiuxian's body. This dark golden light was like a mist that seeped out from every pore of Yi Qiuxian's body. Yi Qiuxian's body seemed to be dyed with a layer of dark golden paint. Ha ha ha, Yi Qiuxian, you've been completely poisoned by my poison. Now, the poison is devouring your supreme heavenly power. You're going to lose. Dark Knight Rose's arrogant voice could be heard from the gigantic sky-devouring rose. How could this be? Many heavenly human tribe members turned pale and looked terrible. Yi Qiuxian was going to lose? They found it hard to accept. Yi Qiuxian was extremely powerful. He was already at the limit of a 12-star battle power. Such battle power was enough to dominate the entire universe for an era. However, Dark Knight Rose grew even bigger. After transforming into her true form, her battle power also increased tremendously. During the stalemate between the two, Dark Knight Rose's poison erupted and invaded Yi Qiuxian's body. As such, Yi Qiuxian was likely to follow in Yi Linghongye's footsteps. The supreme heavenly power in his body was being devoured. The consequences were imaginable. Is that so? I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. Yi Qiuxian said indifferently. His expression was still calm. Chapter 44-29. Even though Dark Knight Rose's poison gas had entered his body, Yi Qiuxian's face was still calm and his voice was filled with confidence. At this moment, Dark Knight Rose's face changed abruptly. Why? Why is the ultimate heavenly energy in your body not weakening at all? Dark Knight Rose's voice was filled with shock. Dark Knight Rose had perfect control over her poison gas. She could clearly sense how much of the enemy's energy it had devoured. However, when the poison gas entered Yi Qiuxian's body, she realized that her poison gas did not devour any of Yi Qiuxian's energy. This was impossible. Although the ultimate heavenly energy was powerful and mysterious, her Sky Devourer poison was no small matter. It was unique in the entire universe and could devour endless energy. Previously, Yi Linghongye's ultimate heavenly energy was also devoured by her. However, the ultimate heavenly energy in Yi Qiuxian's body did not seem to be affected at all. No matter how she tried to activate or control the Sky Devourer poison, it was useless. The energy in Yi Qiuxian's body was like a rock that was indestructible. I don't believe that there's any energy in this world that I can't devour other than the forbidden energy, Dark Knight Rose roared. The Sky Devourer rose swayed and more Sky Devourer poison flowed out from the center of the flower and entered Yi Qiuxian's body. However, after a while, it was still useless. Dark Knight Rose could feel that she had not devoured any of Yi Qiuxian's energy. Instead, she had used up a lot of energy to release the Sky Devourer poison. How is this possible? Why is the energy in your body so strong? No, the energy in your body is not right. At this moment, Dark Knight Rose seemed to have discovered something and shouted in shock. Let me show you my true strength. Yi Qiuxian's cold and confident voice sounded. At the next moment, boom! A terrifying aura burst out from Yi Qiuxian's body. A vast and majestic energy burst out as if it could destroy everything. The Sky Devourer poison that Dark Knight Rose had used to invade Yi Qiuxian's body was quickly destroyed by this energy. Yi Qiuxian was shrouded by the ultimate heavenly energy. This ultimate heavenly energy had 4 different colors. At this moment, many people couldn't help but widen their eyes in shock. You. 4 types of ultimate heavenly powers, the Dark Knight Rose roared in shock. The gigantic rose kept swaying as if it was shaking. The petals were trembling from the shock. Yes. 4 different utmost heavenly powers. Yi Qiuxian did not control 3 different utmost heavenly powers. Instead, he controlled 4 different utmost heavenly powers. Tian Fa, Tian Zhu, Tian Xia, Tian Sha. The heavenly human tribe only had a total of 4 types of supreme heavenly energy. Yi Qiuxian had actually grasped all of them. The scene fell into a deathly silence at first, and then an uproar ensued. Among them, the celestial clan's people were the most excited, the most horrified, and also the loudest. Heavens! 4 types of ultimate heavenly powers. Yi Qiuxian has actually mastered 4 types of ultimate heavenly powers. How is this possible? Legend has it that the 4 powers of the heavens are the true perfect powers of the heavens. However, it's extremely difficult to master them. In the history of the heavenly human race, not many people have been able to master them. Too strong. Yi Qiuxian is too strong. Is this Yi Qiuxian's true strength? The heavenly human tribe's people were discussing in shock. Even the exceptional sky prides were trembling. It was unknown if it was because of excitement or envy. There was only one thing in common, and that was shock. They were too shocked. Only the heavenly human tribe could truly understand what it meant to master 4 different utmost heavenly powers. That was perfection, true perfection, the perfect and flawless heavenly powers. Legend had it that in the history of the heavenly human tribe, only 2 people had truly mastered the perfect heavenly powers. One of them was an old ancestor of the heavenly human tribe from countless years ago. No one knew how long it had been since then, and no one knew if he was still alive or not. It was also that old ancestor who had brought the heavenly human tribe to such a prosperous state. The second person was an exceptional prodigy of the heavenly human tribe from 60 stellar years ago. This prodigy from 60 stellar years ago had also mastered 4 utmost heavenly powers and was extremely powerful. Back then, he had fought a bloody battle with the taboo race and killed his way to the top. Now, this existence was known as the #1 powerhouse of the heavenly human tribe, suppressing the entire universe. Of course, that was under the condition that some of the old ancestors of the heavenly human tribe did not appear. And now, there was a third one. Fortune, the fortune of the heavenly human tribe. In the sky, the heavenly venerables of the heavenly human tribe were also extremely shocked. Then, they became excited. All of them trembled with excitement. They knew better than anyone what it meant to master the perfect heavenly powers. This meant that the heavenly human tribe would become stronger and stronger. Countless years ago, an old ancestor of the heavenly human tribe who had mastered the perfect heavenly powers led the heavenly human tribe to overcome all obstacles and finally led the heavenly human tribe to prosperity. 60 stellar years ago, the heavenly human tribe faced a huge crisis. At that time, 2 taboo races and some other heaven-defying prodigies appeared in the universe. They all rebelled against the heavenly palace and wanted to overthrow the heavenly palace. At that time, another prodigy who had mastered the perfect heavenly powers appeared in the heavenly human tribe and fought against the taboo races. In addition, with the help of some old ancestors of the heavenly human tribe, the heavenly human tribe finally protected their position in the universe. The appearance of every existence who had mastered the perfect heavenly powers was of great significance to the heavenly human tribe. This time, there was a third one. Did this mean that the heavenly human tribe could finally destroy all the rebels and truly control the eldritch universe? At that moment, the heavenly venerables thought about many things. The fusion of the four supreme heavenly powers can form the perfect heavenly powers. It's perfect and flawless. Although your poison is powerful, it can't devour my perfect heavenly powers. Yi Qiuxian said calmly. The confidence in his eyes was even stronger. Hearing Yi Qiuxian's words, everyone understood why Dark Knight Rose's poison couldn't do anything to Yi Qiuxian. The perfect heavenly powers were perfect and flawless. It was perfect and flawless. The heaven-devouring poison couldn't be dealt with at all. You have mastered the perfect heavenly powers. Dark Knight Rose's incredulous voice came from the huge rose. 60 stellar years ago, she was Tang Qing's pet and had followed Tang Qing through all the battles. Back then, she had witnessed the prodigy of the heavenly human tribe 60 stellar years ago. That was an existence who could truly compete with the taboo race. He could even suppress the taboo race and was extremely powerful. Facing such an opponent, she was a little scared. Originally, I wanted to save it to deal with the taboo race. I didn't expect it to be exposed so early. Dark Knight Rose, you should be proud, Yi Qiuxian's cold voice sounded. Then, he took a step forward. Chapter 44:30. Yi Qiuxian took a step forward and unleashed his perfect heaven's energy, forming a battle sword and slashing towards Dark Knight Rose. Sword chi whizzed through the air, causing the sky to tremble. In the face of this attack, Dark Knight Rose's heart trembled. She felt an immense pressure. However, Dark Knight Rose did not want to give up just like that. Block it. The Dark Knight Rose shouted, and the huge rose started to spin rapidly. The flower was already huge, but it was still growing rapidly. The flower continued to spin, and at the center of the flower, an incomparably powerful devouring force burst out, wanting to devour the battle sword. However, Dark Knight Rose's heart started to sink. This was because the power of Yi Qiuxian's attack was beyond her imagination. As the sword light landed, Dark Knight Rose's attack was extinguished. In the end, the gigantic battle sword landed on the heaven-devouring rose and split the powerful devouring force into two. Boom! The battle sword landed on the flower, causing it to shake violently. Then, the violent sword chi struck the flower, causing it to explode. The petals were being extinguished one by one. In the end, the entire flower was split into two. With a loud bang, the gigantic Dark Knight Rose exploded, revealing Dark Knight Rose's body. Her face was pale as blood flowed out of her mouth. She was forced to retreat. I admit defeat, Dark Knight Rose shouted as she retreated. There was no need to fight anymore. Through that sword strike, she knew very well that she was no match for Yi Qiuxian. There was a huge gap between them. If she continued the fight, she would be killed in the next attack. 13 stars of battle strength. Dark Knight Rose sighed helplessly. She was very clear that Yi Qiuxian's battle prowess had already reached 13 stars. Although there was a difference of 1 star between 13 stars and 12 stars, the difference was huge. There was a legend in the chaotic universe that 12 stars of battle strength was the limit for god emperors. Only the strongest geniuses in the universe could reach 12 stars of battle strength. However, once one surpassed 12 stars and reached 13 stars, their battle strength would increase tremendously. Under the same cultivation level, 13 stars of battle strength could easily crush 12 stars of battle strength. No matter what tactics one used, it would be useless. As for Yi Qiuxian's battle power, it was very clear that he had surpassed 12 stars and reached 13 stars. This was a true peerless genius who was invincible among those of the same level and could suppress the universe. It was rare for even one to appear in countless eras. Dark Knight Rose admitted defeat and left the fighting ring. She returned to the lotus and began to heal herself. Yi Qiuxian's expression was calm as he returned to the lotus. He didn't want to kill Dark Knight Rose, so he let her admit defeat. If he didn't want his opponent to admit defeat, he could have continued to unleash a torrent of attacks after the previous move. His opponent wouldn't even have the chance to admit defeat and would have been killed on the fighting stage. Everyone's gazes landed on Yi Qiuxian. Their eyes were filled with shock and awe. He actually has perfect control over the power of the heavens, Yi Chu Tianji, Yi Ling Hongya, and the others sighed in their hearts. Their eyes were filled with envy and helplessness. They knew that they could no longer compete with Yi Qiuxian. In the future, Yi Qiuxian would be the undisputed number one person in this generation of the heavenly human tribe. After this battle, they would have to be respectful to Yi Qiuxian when they saw him again. Even though they had mastered 3 supreme powers of the heavens, 3 supreme powers of the heavens and 4 supreme powers of the heavens were 2 completely different concepts. 3 supreme powers of the heavens were immature and imperfect. 4 supreme powers of the heavens represented perfection. Imperfection and perfection were only 1 step apart, but the difference was like heaven and earth. It was almost impossible to go 1 step further and master 4 supreme powers of the heavens. In the history of the heavenly human tribe, after countless eras, there were still a few people who could master 3 supreme powers of the heavens. Every few eras, there would be one. However, in the vast history of the heavenly human tribe, there were only 3 people who could master the perfect power of the heavens. This showed how difficult it was. 3 supreme powers of the heavens would be suppressed and easily defeated when faced with a perfect power of the heavens. After this battle, Yi Qiuxian's status in the heavenly human tribe would increase tremendously. He would definitely be far above them. Even though they were envious and jealous, they knew that they had to change their attitude towards Yi Qiuxian in the future. Otherwise, they would be the ones to suffer. This person is indeed terrifying. Lu Ming looked at Yi Qiuxian. His eyes flickered and revealed a trace of shock. Previously, he had felt that Yi Qiuxian was not simple. He vaguely gave him a strong sense of pressure. He had always felt that Yi Qiuxian might be hiding his strength. The truth was indeed so. However, even though he was a little shocked, he was not afraid. Instead, there was a strong desire to fight in his eyes. Yi Qiuxian had 13-star battle strength. Wasn't he the same? Both of them had 13-star battle strength. Who was stronger between him and Yi Qiuxian? He would only know after the battle. As if sensing Lu Ming's desire to fight, Yi Qiuxian's gaze turned towards Lu Ming. His sharp gaze was like 2 sharp swords that pierced towards Lu Ming. Forbidden body. I hope you won't disappoint me. Yi Qiuxian spoke, his voice spreading far and wide. Haha. Lu Ming smiled faintly and did not reply too much. It was useless to say anything now. They would know after the battle. However, in the eyes of others, Lu Ming's attitude turned into fear and dread. Lu Ming is afraid. He doesn't dare to accept the battle. That's normal. Yi Qiuxian has 13-star battle strength. How long will it take for another 13-star battle strength to appear in the entire Eldritch universe? Even though Lu Ming has a forbidden body, it is impossible for him to have 13-star battle strength. How can he not be afraid when facing Yi Qiuxian? That's right. Yi Qiuxian is undoubtedly the number 1 person in the Eldritch universe. Looks like there is no doubt about the number 1 person in this battle for the origin seed. Amazing. The heavenly human tribe is indeed the heavenly human tribe. They are still invincible. There were discussions and exclamations all around. Many of the heavenly human tribe could not help but reveal a proud expression. That's right. The heavenly human tribe was still number 1 and was still the overlord. Previously, when Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongya were defeated consecutively, all the members of the heavenly human tribe felt that they had lost face. However, because of Yi Qiuxian, they felt that they had regained their lost face. Because Yi Qiuxian proved that the heavenly human tribe was still invincible. The first place still belonged to the heavenly human tribe. Fuck him, Wanshan licked his lips and looked at Yi Qiuxian. His eyes flickered with fighting spirit, but he felt a huge pressure in his heart. At the scene, everyone had different thoughts. However, it was undeniable that they were all shocked by Yi Qiuxian. As a result, from the beginning of the last 11 rounds, everyone was a little dazed after a few consecutive battles. It wasn't until another heavyweight confrontation arrived that everyone came back to their senses. Xian Yinqing vs Yiling Hongye. Chapter 44-31. The fifth match of the 11th round was between Xian Yinqing and Yiling Hongye. Everyone was looking forward to this match. It was mainly because of Xian Yinqing. Xian Yinqing had encountered people with 12-star battle prowess 3 times, but he had never really fought. The first time he faced Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing admitted defeat. Later on, when he encountered Dark Knight Rose and Myriad God, Dark Knight Rose and Myriad God also admitted defeat. Xian Yinqing had only fought against people with 11-star battle prowess. He had not fought against anyone with 12-star battle prowess. The others did not know Xian Yinqing's true strength. Now, through the battle with Yiling Hongye, they should be able to see some problems. Now, Yi Chu Tianji and Yiling Hongye had completely become tools for others to measure their strength. Yi Chu Tianji and Yiling Hongye were naturally very unhappy about this. I must defeat this traitor in this battle. Yiling Hongye stared at Xian Yinqing and roared in her heart. She was filled with determination. She swore in her heart that she must win this battle and wash away her shame. This was her last chance to wash away her shame. She had been defeated by Dark Knight Rose and Yi Qiuxian. In addition, Wanshan and Lu Ming had not fought with her, but Wanshan and Lu Ming had defeated Yi Chu Tianji one after another. Her battle prowess was about the same as Yi Chu Tianji's. Since Lu Ming and Wanshan could defeat Yi Chu Tianji, she was most likely no match for them. Now, only Xian Yinqing's battle prowess was unclear. As long as she defeated Xian Yinqing, she could regain some face and not be so humiliated. It seems like you don't want to admit defeat. Then make your move. I'll give you a chance to make your move. Xian Yinqing said. These words directly provoked Yiling Hongye. Lowly person, shut up. Yiling Hongye shouted coldly and rushed towards Xian Yinqing. As she rushed out, she pressed her hands together and the red leaf domain erupted, enveloping Xian Yinqing. Xian Yinqing seemed to be stunned. He stood there motionless, allowing Hongye's domain to approach. In the next moment, Xian Yinqing was enveloped by the red leaf domain. Great! Seeing this, Yiling Hongye was overjoyed. Once he was enveloped by her red leaf domain, her chances of victory would increase by 20%. They both had 12-star battle prowess, but their chances of victory were increased by 20%. That was a huge difference. I'm definitely going to win this battle. Red leaves of 10,000, kill! Yiling Hongye shouted. Within her red leaf domain, countless red leaves suddenly appeared and flew towards Xian Yinqing. Each of these red leaves was comparable to an incomparably sharp divine weapon, and their power was extremely terrifying. The power of a single piece was already very shocking. But now, there were at least 10,000 pieces. With so many red leaves attacking at the same time, one could imagine how powerful they were. Moreover, within the red leaf domain, her attacks would be endless. Just as Xian Yinqing was about to be enveloped by the thousands of red leaves, a black halo suddenly appeared on Xian Yinqing's body. Moreover, the black halo was rapidly expanding. Let's see if your domain is more powerful than mine. Heavenly Demon Domain. Xian Yinqing shouted. The halo on his body was rapidly expanding, enveloping Yiling Hongye in an instant. Zzz, the two domains collided and rubbed against each other, creating ear-piercing sounds. The void was distorted. The thousands of red leaves that were about to attack Xian Yinqing also stopped. They were suspended in mid-air, unable to move forward. You've also mastered a domain? Yiling Hongye's expression changed. Three types of ultimate heavenly powers erupted wildly, merging into the red leaf domain, trying to break Xian Yanqing's heavenly demon domain. However, it was useless. The two domains continued to clash, but Xian Yanqing's heavenly demon domain did not budge. Your domain is only a so-so. Let me break your domain, Xian Yanqing said. Then, a black lotus appeared under her feet. Xian Yanqing sat cross-legged on the lotus. Her fingers formed a strange seal, and a huge figure appeared on her body. This figure was incomparably huge, but it was not Xian Yanqing's figure. It was a woman's figure, but her appearance could not be seen clearly because she was shrouded in demonic qi. As soon as this figure appeared, Xian Yanqing's heavenly demon domain became more powerful. Suddenly, it suppressed Yiling Hongye's red leaf domain, causing it to tremble and distort. Yiling Hongye's expression changed drastically, revealing a look of shock. In terms of domain, she was actually suppressed. Once her red leaf domain was broken, she would be enveloped by Xian Yanqing's heavenly demon domain. She would be in a passive position, and her chances of winning would plummet. Kill! Yiling Hongye shouted. Three types of ultimate heavenly powers turned into three weapons, carrying her towards Xian Yanqing. She wanted to defeat Xian Yanqing in one fell swoop. As long as she defeated Xian Yanqing's domain would be broken. In the blink of an eye, Yiling Hongye was close to Xian Yanqing. At this time, Xian Yanqing also moved. She gently pressed out her right hand, and the huge figure also extended a hand and pressed forward, pressing down on Yiling Hongye. After the huge hand pressed out, it became incomparably black, as if it was formed by demonic qi. Heavenly demon palm. Boom! The huge demonic palm collided with Yiling Hongye, and there was an earth-shattering explosion. As the energy spread, Yiling Hongye's body frantically retreated. However, the heavenly demon palm did not stop. It continued to press down on Yiling Hongye. How is this possible? Yiling Hongye was extremely shocked. She found that she was no match for Xian Yanqing in a head-on confrontation. She was completely at a disadvantage. In the face of the heavenly demon palm, Yiling Hongye could only continue to use all her strength to resist. However, this time, she was even more embarrassed. She staggered back, her face pale. There was a sweet taste in her throat, and she spat out a mouthful of blood. This time, she was already injured. She had only taken 2 moves head-on, and she was already injured. Obviously, the gap between their strength was not small. Heavenly demon palm, suppress for me. Xian Yanqing shouted and continued to attack. The huge figure pressed out its palm again, and another huge heavenly demon palm pressed down on Yiling Hongye like a mountain. Rumble. Before the heavenly demon palm fell, the violent energy had already caused Yiling Hongye's face to change drastically. Clang! There was the sound of a sword. Yiling Hongye fully activated the 3 types of ultimate heavenly powers, and the 3 types of ultimate heavenly powers turned into a large number of blood-red leaves. These leaves intertwined to form a huge battle sword, slashing at the heavenly demon palm, trying to split it open. Bam! The two exchanged blows for the 3rd time, and the energy swept out in all directions. In the next moment, the battle sword formed by the blood-red leaves shook violently, and then exploded. The violent energy of the heavenly demon palm pressed down on Yiling Hongye. Puff! Yiling Hongye spat out a mouthful of blood. Her body flew back like a sack, and fell heavily on the fighting ring. After 3 moves, Yiling Hongye was severely injured. Chapter 44-32. Yiling Hongye was severely injured, and it was even harder for her to maintain the power of the red leaf field. The red leaf field was completely crushed by the heavenly demon field, and it kept collapsing. The power of the heavenly demon field was getting stronger and stronger. In the heavenly demon territory, black lotuses appeared one after another. They were densely packed and filled the void. Yiling Hongye's pupils shrank, and she looked terrified. I admit defeat. Yi Ling Hongye yelled and admitted defeat. There was no need to compete anymore. She knew that Xian Yanqing's combat strength was far above hers. If they continued, she might not be able to get out of the fighting ring, and she would be killed on the fighting ring. With Yi Ling Hongye's admission of defeat, Xian Yanqing won the battle. However, the result shocked everyone. Xian Yanqing won too easily. What terrifying combat strength! How can Xian Yanqing be so strong? He defeated Yi Ling Hongye in just a few moves. Could Xian Yanqing's combat strength have also reached 13 stars? Many people discussed in shock. Most importantly, Xian Yanqing had won too easily. How many moves had it been? He defeated Yi Ling Hongye in just a few moves, which showed the huge gap between them. No, it's not 13 stars. Xian Yanqing's combat strength hasn't reached 13 stars. It should be the limit of 12 stars. That's right. His combat strength should be at the limit of 12 stars, which is far above Yi Ling Hongye's. However, he shouldn't have won so quickly, mainly because Yi Ling Hongye was restrained. Both of them controlled fields, but Xian Yanqing's field was stronger, so Yi Ling Hongye was completely restrained, and her combat strength was greatly reduced. That's why he defeated her so easily. Some divine master-level existences spoke up and analyzed the issue thoroughly. The others were also enlightened. Xian Yanqing's combat strength was indeed above Yi Ling Hongye's, but it was obviously not normal for him to defeat her in just a few moves. The main reason was that Yi Ling Hongye was restrained. If Xian Yanqing fought Yi Chu Tianji, he wouldn't have won so easily. However, everyone was still shocked by Xian Yanqing's battle prowess. Such battle prowess was already extremely terrifying. From the looks of it now, it was only second to Yi Qiuxian and not weaker than the Dark Knight Rose who had unleashed her full battle prowess. No wonder Dark Knight Rose admitted defeat to Xian Yanqing. His combat strength was not inferior to Dark Knight Rose's at all. If he had some means to counter Dark Knight Rose's poison, then it was normal for Dark Knight Rose to be no match for him. What amazing combat strength! This time, Xian Yanqing will definitely have a place in the top 3. That's right. If it wasn't for Yi Qiuxian being so strong, she might even be able to fight for first place. There are too many experts this time. It's really shocking. Many people discussed in shock. Damn it, how is this possible? Yi Chu Tianji roared. He was the most shocked among the crowd. This was because he had fought with Xian Yanqing before. At that time, the two of them were evenly matched. Now that he thought about it, one reason was that he was not countered by Xian Yanqing. The other reason was that Xian Yanqing did not use his full strength at that time. He originally thought that he could be on par with Xian Yanqing. At least, he would not be at the bottom of the 12-star battle prowess. Now, he realized that he was gravely mistaken. This made him extremely unhappy. After this battle, there were a few more ordinary battles. When it was the 9th battle of the 11th round, it was finally a battle between 12-star battle prowess. Lu Ming against Dark Knight Rose. When the two of them stepped onto the fighting ring, many people were curious and expectant. They were all guessing who would win between Lu Ming and Dark Knight Rose. This was because the battle prowess of the participants had become clearer. Everyone was secretly guessing the specific ranking. For example, everyone was sure that Yi Qiuxian would be in first place. There was almost no suspense. The bottom two were Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongye. As for Xian Yanqing and Dark Knight Rose, everyone believed that they would be in the top 4. The greater suspense was whether Lu Ming or Wan Shen would be in 5th place and not in the top 4. Now, Lu Ming was up against Dark Knight Rose. Many things could be seen from this battle. For example, Lu Ming was able to defeat Dark Knight Rose. Needless to say, he would definitely be in the top 4. If Lu Ming was not a match for Dark Knight Rose, it would depend on how far Lu Ming could fight Dark Knight Rose and how the battle prowess he displayed compared to Wan Shen. However, the crowd thought from another perspective. Even Xian Yanqing and Wan Shen had admitted defeat to Lu Ming. As long as Lu Ming was not too bad, he would basically be in the top 4. However, most people did not have high hopes for Lu Ming. They believed that Lu Ming was most likely not a match for Dark Knight Rose. The main reason was that the battle prowess Dark Knight Rose had displayed was too strong. She was definitely at the peak of 12-star. She had forced Yi Qiuxian to reveal his strongest battle prowess. It was very difficult to achieve such a level of battle prowess. Although Lu Ming had a taboo body, the chances of him having such battle prowess were very small. Hence, the crowd did not have high hopes for him. However, there were people who objected. They believed that although Lu Ming might not have the same battle prowess as Dark Knight Rose, he had a taboo body after all. The taboo power was the strongest power in the universe. Dark Knight Rose's heaven-devouring poison might not be able to do anything to the taboo power and would be countered by Lu Ming. It was hard to say who would win. Some people agreed with this view. On the battle stage, Dark Knight Rose looked at Lu Ming with a complicated expression. She said softly, "Lu Ming, I really didn't expect you to grow to this stage and even have a taboo body. If I had known, would have eaten you no matter what." Ha ha ha. Lu Ming could not help but recall the first time he met Dark Knight Rose in the Taishu dynasty. At that time, Dark Knight Rose showed a strong desire for him, as if she really wanted to eat him. Unfortunately, you missed that chance. You won't have another chance. Lu Ming said lightly. Is that so? Dark Knight Rose's eyes flickered. She looked at Lu Ming and smiled sweetly. Lu Ming, I don't want to eat you anymore. What I want is a collaboration. Why don't you join us and fight with us? I'll give you whatever you want. As she said that, her beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light. Anyone could understand what she meant. Many young men began to breathe heavily. In different directions, Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, and Ling Yue's gazes all fell on Lu Ming. They wanted to see Lu Ming's reaction. Lu Ming was expressionless. His current mental fortitude was extremely strong. Although Dark Knight Rose was extremely tempting, it could no longer shake his heart. Dark Knight Rose, cut the crap. Do you want to admit defeat, or do you want me to do it? Lu Ming said coldly. Sigh, how unromantic. Dark Knight Rose sighed and said, although the taboo power is powerful, it also depends on the person who uses it. In the hands of different people, the difference in power is like heaven and earth. I would like to see how powerful the taboo power you use is. Before she finished speaking, Dark Knight Rose had already rushed towards Lu Ming. Chapter 44-33. The Dark Knight Rose dashed toward Lu Ming at an alarming speed. In the process of dashing out, her body was already filled with a rich dark golden glow. Afterward, a rose appeared from within the glow. Dark Knight Rose turned into her original form and pushed her combat strength to the limit. The rose grew rapidly, and the glow filled the sky. The center of the flower was like a huge black hole. It was so dark that one couldn't see the bottom. A powerful devouring force was constantly erupting from it. Hoo, the terrifying devouring force shrouded Lu Ming. At the same time, dark golden rays flew towards Lu Ming like sharp blades. Facing Dark Knight Rose's torrential attacks, Lu Ming was calm. He activated his taboo energy and condensed a long spear in his hand. Whoosh! The long spear shook and stabbed forward. In an instant, dozens of spear shadows flew out and blocked Dark Knight Rose's attacks. Even the powerful devouring force had a few holes in it. Devour! Dark Knight Rose shouted. The rose was still growing. At this moment, it had already covered the entire fighting stage. The huge black hole in the flower was aimed at Lu Ming. The devouring force was constantly erupting, trying to devour Lu Ming. This devouring power was extremely terrifying. If an ordinary expert were to face this devouring power, they would be torn to pieces in an instant, not to mention resisting it. However, Lu Ming wasn't an ordinary expert. He successfully blocked the devouring force. His body was like a nail nailed to the fighting stage. He didn't move at all. He only used his long spear to resist the dark golden glow. In an instant, the two sides had exchanged dozens of blows. At this moment, Lu Ming was completely shrouded in the dark golden glow. Not only that, but the pores on his body were also emitting a dark golden glow. Poison. Lu Ming's body had already been poisoned. Devour. Dark Knight Rose shouted. She controlled the poison, trying to devour Lu Ming's strength. However, in the next moment, Dark Knight Rose's face darkened. She realized that her heaven-devouring poison couldn't shake Lu Ming's taboo energy at all. Although she had expected it, she was still very disappointed when it actually happened. Dark Knight Rose, so this is your heaven-devouring poison. Now, it's my turn. Lu Ming's voice sounded. Previously, he had been passively defending and did not launch too strong of an attack because he wanted to test just how powerful the heaven-devouring poison was. It was capable of devouring absolute heavenly energy. However, it was unable to devour perfect heavenly energy. Thus, he wanted to see if the heaven-devouring acute poison was capable of devouring forbidden heavenly energy. This way, he would be able to determine which was stronger between the taboo energy and perfect heaven's energy. Reality proved that the taboo energy was strong enough, definitely not weaker than perfect heaven's power. It successfully blocked the heaven-devouring poison. The heaven-devouring poison couldn't shake the forbidden power. Since he had already tested it out, there was no need to continue. It was time to counterattack. Boom! A powerful aura erupted from Lu Ming's body. A spear light soared into the sky and pierced through the firmament. The spear light grew larger and larger, piercing towards the gigantic heaven-devouring wild rose, wanting to pierce through it. The spear light was huge and indomitable, shocking everyone. What a terrifying attack, what a terrifying power. This power has already reached the limit of 12-star battle prowess. It definitely doesn't feel any weaker than Xian Yanqing's battle prowess. Amazing, there are too many experts this time. At the scene, many people sucked in a breath of cold air and discussed excitedly. That's right, Lu Ming still hadn't revealed his 13-star battle prowess. The battle prowess that he unleashed was the limit of 12-star battle prowess. This was because there was no need to reveal his 13-star battle prowess to deal with Dark Knight Rose. Devour. Dark Knight Rose still didn't want to give up and wanted to resist. She activated the devouring force with all her might. In the middle of the flower, the black hole spun wildly. The violent devouring force erupted like a huge mouth, wanting to devour Lu Ming's spear light. At this moment, the indomitable spear light also blasted into the center of the flower. Rumble. A series of violent roars sounded. The wild rose trembled continuously and then began to explode. One by one, the wild rose withered and flew out. With a final boom, the wild rose completely exploded, revealing Dark Knight Rose's figure again. However, at this moment, Dark Knight Rose's face was pale and there was blood at the corner of her mouth. She had been severely injured by the previous attack. As expected, Dark Knight Rose is no match for him. She's going to lose. The most terrifying thing about Dark Knight Rose is her poison. Coupled with that poison, her battle prowess is at the limit of 12-star battle prowess. However, when the poison loses its effect, her battle prowess will be greatly reduced. It's normal that she isn't a match for Lu Ming. From the looks of it, the second place belongs to Lu Ming. The crowd discussed animatedly. In their hearts, there was a change in the ranking. Lu Ming's battle prowess was beyond everyone's imagination. He was stronger than they expected and defeated Dark Knight Rose head-on. Among the crowd, Yi Qiuxian was definitely stronger than Lu Ming. Other than Yi Qiuxian, Xian Yanqing's battle prowess might not be weaker than Lu Ming's. However, Xian Yanqing had already surrendered in front of Lu Ming previously. Therefore, Lu Ming was already certain that he would be in second place. In the midst of the crowd's discussion, Lu Ming had already stepped forward. The long spear in his hand was buzzing as he locked onto Dark Knight Rose. A powerful aura was constantly exerting pressure on Dark Knight Rose. I admit defeat. In the end, Dark Knight Rose shook her head gently and admitted defeat. It was obvious who was stronger and who was weaker. There was no need for another battle. Dark Knight Rose admitted defeat and left the fighting ring. She returned to the Lotus Flower. Just like that, Lu Ming won all 11 battles and obtained 11 consecutive victories. Until now, only 2 people had obtained 11 consecutive victories. They were Lu Ming and Yi Qiuxian. The specific ranking can be guessed. That's right. There's no doubt that Yi Qiuxian will be in first place. As for Lu Ming, there's also no doubt that he will be in second place. In addition, Xian Yanqing and Dark Knight Rose should be in third and fourth place respectively. It's hard to say who will be in fourth place. Wan Shen's strength is unfathomable. He might not lose even if he hasn't fought Dark Knight Rose before. That's right. I think so too. It's hard to say who will be in fourth place. However, there shouldn't be much change in the other rankings. The crowd was discussing the specific ranking again. Am I in second place? Lu Ming muttered in his heart. The corner of his mouth curled into an expectant smile and a strong fighting spirit. Second place wasn't his goal. His goal was to be in first place. Although Yi Qiuxian had a battle prowess of 13 stars, so did Yi Qiuxian. They would only know who was stronger after a battle. After a few more battles, the 11th round came to an end. Soon, it was the 12th round. Not long after the 12th round began, there was a battle between 12 stars of battle prowess. They were Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongya, the tragic heavenly daughter of heaven. Chapter 44-34. Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongya were almost certain to be the last 2 among the 7 12-star combatants. Now, it was time to see who would be 6th and who would be 7th. Neither of them wanted to be 7th, so they engaged in an intense battle. However, they were old rivals. They had fought many times in the past for the top spot of the heavenly human tribe. Every time, there was no clear winner. This time was no different. The 2 of them fought fiercely for more than 1,000 rounds, but there was still no clear winner. Both of them were exhausted and the battle ended in a draw. After this battle, there were a few more battles. Finally, there was a battle that everyone wanted to see. It was the battle between Wan Shen and Dark Knight Rose. This was the battle that everyone had been looking forward to for a long time. This battle would show who would be in the top 4. Without any superfluous words, Wan Shen and Dark Knight Rose engaged in an intense battle. Wan Shen was definitely powerful. He was born from the flesh and blood of many primordial divine spirits. He had unparalleled talent and was born with the strongest and most primordial divine power. In addition to his powerful primordial divine body, he had dozens of origin-source secret techniques. He was like an invincible war machine. However, the origin of the Sky Devourer Rose was even more shocking. The Sky Devourer poison was extremely terrifying. In the entire universe, there were few powers that it could not devour. Even though Wan Shen's divine power was strong and condensed, it was still restrained by the Sky Devourer poison. As the battle dragged on, the divine power in his body was constantly being devoured. His strength continued to weaken until he was defeated by Dark Knight Rose. Dark Knight Rose won this battle. After this battle, although the battle was not over, everyone had a clear ranking in their hearts. First place, Yi Qiuxian. Second place, Lu Ming. Third place, Xian Yanqing. Fourth place, Dark Knight Rose. Fifth place, Wan Shen. The last 2 were Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongya. Therefore, the crowd wasn't that interested in the rest of the competition because the final result was within their expectations. For example, in the 13th round, Lu Ming fought Yi Ling Hongya. There was almost no suspense. If Lu Ming could easily defeat Yi Chu Tianji, he could also easily defeat Yi Ling Hongya. There was another battle, Yi Qiuxian against Wan Shen. Although the outcome of this battle was within everyone's expectations, the battle at the beginning was still very exciting. Yi Qiuxian did not unleash his 13-star battle strength at the start. Instead, he used 12-star strength to fight Wan Shen. Myriad God was extremely powerful. After exchanging more than 100 blows with Yi Qiuxian was still unable to do anything to Myriad God. And Yi Qiuxian had to use his perfect heaven's power to defeat Wan Shen. On the 14th round, Wan Shen defeated Yi Linghongye without much suspense. There was another match, Yi Qiuxian vs Xian Yanqing. In this battle, Yi Qiuxian used his full strength right from the start. 4 types of utmost heaven powers burst forth. Xian Yanqing was even more straightforward. He directly admitted defeat and didn't even fight. Xian Yanqing was very clear that although she had many tricks up her sleeve, she was absolutely no match for Yi Qiuxian. Soon, they entered the 15th round. In the 15th round, there was only one battle between 12-star battle prowess. That was Dark Knight Rose vs Yi Chu Tianji. Of course, there was no suspense. Dark Knight Rose won. The other matches were all between 11 stars of battle prowess or 11 stars of battle prowess against 12 stars of battle prowess. Lu Ming and the other 12-star battle strength won easily. They did not even have to fight. Their opponents admitted defeat. Then, they entered the 16th round. In this round, there was only one battle between 12 stars of battle prowess. Xian Yanqing against Yi Chu Tianji. Xian Yanqing won without any surprise. After this battle, among the 12-star battle strength, only Lu Ming and Yi Qiuxian did not fight. It was unknown if it was a coincidence or deliberately arranged. The two of them did not meet in the next few rounds. They did not meet in the 17th round, 18th round, 19th round. There were a total of 21 people. Each of them had to fight others. There would be a total of 20 rounds. When it was the last round, the 20th round, Lu Ming and Yi Qiuxian finally faced each other. Moreover, it was the first battle of the 20th round. Everyone was a little excited. Do you think Lu Ming will fight with Yi Qiuxian or admit defeat? Someone asked. I think there will definitely be a battle. Legend has it that the taboo constitution is a natural enemy of the heavenly palace. If he doesn't even dare to fight and admits defeat, it will be a big blow to the morale of the Heaven Destroyer. It will also weaken the invincibility of the taboo constitution. I think so too. Even if he can't win, he will definitely fight. Anyway, he won't really die here. He can also train himself. Many people felt that Lu Ming was most likely not a match for Yi Qiuxian. However, he would choose to fight. He would not run away or back down. You're half right. I won't back down and I will win. Lu Ming smiled. He took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring from the lotus. At the same time, Yi Qiuxian also got on the fighting ring. Lu Ming, you won't admit defeat? Yi Qiuxian's first sentence was to ask Lu Ming to admit defeat. No one in this world can make me admit defeat, including you. Lu Ming replied calmly. Huh, is that so? That's great. Let me kill a taboo constitution with my own hands. Although you won't really die here, as he spoke, Yi Qiuxian's eyes shone with a fiery light. Since ancient times, the taboo constitution had been the nemesis of the heavenly palace. For example, the life spirit, the lord of the heavenly court, the lord of the grand ancient celestial court, Fei Huang, Tang Feng, these people were the nemesis of the heavenly palace. They had caused great losses to the heavenly palace. All the heavenly humans wanted to kill the taboo constitution. Now that he had the chance, how could he not be excited? You want to kill me? Yi Qiuxian, I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Lu Ming replied indifferently. He was in high spirits and was very confident. Don't have the ability? Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, show me what you've got. I know you haven't used your full strength before. Let's see how many moves you can take from me. Yi Qiuxian laughed and took a step forward. A violent aura erupted like a volcano. 4 types of supreme heavenly forces appeared and formed a huge battle sword. It slashed down at Lu Ming. The battle sword slashed down as if it wanted to split the entire space into 2. It was extremely powerful. If they were outside the chaotic universe, this sword would definitely be able to split the starry sky into 2 and destroy countless planets. Lu Ming squinted his eyes. A long spear formed in his hand. Then, the long spear started to spin rapidly. It shot up into the sky like a drill and rushed towards Yi Qiuxian's battle sword. Clang! Boom! The 2 attacks collided. In an instant, the void shook violently. A destructive force swept out in all directions. Chapter 44-35. Fortunately, there was an invisible barrier around the fighting ring that blocked the energy that was sweeping in all directions. Buzz! The long spear that Lu Ming had formed vibrated continuously before collapsing. Then, Lu Ming's body was pushed back until he reached the edge of the fighting ring before he could stabilize himself. His face was a little pale and the blood in his body was in turmoil. He almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Lu Ming, is this your full combat strength? If this is all you have, I'm really disappointed. You can't even take 3 of my moves. Yi Qiuxian said coldly. There is indeed a huge gap between 12-star and 13-star combat strength. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. Just now, he had not used his full strength and had only displayed the maximum combat strength of 12-star combat strength. When he exchanged blows with Yi Qiuxian, he was indeed at a disadvantage. What's the hurry? I was just testing the waters. Now, it's my turn to attack. Sky-splitting form, kill. Lu Ming growled as the battle character art and taboo energy were fully unleashed. At the same time, he used the sky-splitting form and spear radiance emanated from every pore of his body. Swoosh! He turned into a dazzling spear radiance and pierced towards Yi Qiuxian. This spear was stunning and extremely stunning. It was as though it could pierce through the universe and destroy everything in its path. Its power was much stronger than Lu Ming's previous attacks. When this spear was unleashed, the surrounding spectators were shocked and their eyes widened. Oh my god, this power, could this be 13-star combat strength? A few exclamations were heard and their voices were filled with disbelief. At this moment, Yi Qiuxian's eyes were filled with excitement. Interesting, interesting. Come on. Yi Qiuxian roared as his perfect heavenly powers erupted. This time, 4 battle swords formed around his body. Each of the supreme powers of the heavens formed a battle sword. The 4 battle swords took turns flying towards Lu Ming. Swoosh! 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 The first of the 4 battle swords had already neared Lu Ming. With a loud boom, it collided with Lu Ming. This time, the explosion was earth-shattering. Sword chi and spear radiance swept out in all directions. Wang! Yi Qiuxian's first battle sword trembled incessantly before finally collapsing. However, the second sword immediately rushed forward. 4 consecutive swords clashed with Lu Ming. In the end, Yi Qiuxian's 4 swords were all destroyed by Lu Ming. Yi Qiuxian's body staggered backwards. However, the spear light on Lu Ming's body was also destroyed. His body shook violently as he retreated backwards. This move was evenly matched. So you've been hiding your strength. You've actually reached 13-star battle prowess. Yi Qiuxian stared at Lu Ming. His eyes were burning with passion, and his battle intent was extremely strong. It's lonely at the top. Invincible is lonely. Previously, Yi Qiuxian had always had this feeling. In a battle of the same level, there was no one in the entire universe who could match him. It was as if he was the only one standing at the top, overlooking the thousands of other geniuses. This made him feel lonely. Now, after seeing Lu Ming unleash a 13-star battle prowess, he instead felt a sense of excitement. At his level, having an opponent could stimulate his motivation and allow him to continuously improve. In fact, Lu Ming also had this feeling. Therefore, he had already revealed a strong battle intent. At this moment, the surrounding people were in a state of shock. Oh my god, it's really 13-star battle prowess. Lu Ming has 13-star battle prowess. He's been hiding his strength all this while. Terrifying, too terrifying. This is crazy. There are actually two 13-star battle prowess people in the same era. Looking at the entire history of the Eldritch universe, this has only happened a few times. Looking at the entire history of the Eldritch universe, such a grand occasion only happened when the universe was first formed or 60 stellar years ago. Is the taboo body really that terrifying? Many people found it hard to calm down. They were discussing excitedly and expressing their opinions. This kid, the divine masters and heavenly venerables of the heavenly human tribe had ugly expressions on their faces. They looked at Lu Ming eerily, revealing a strong battle intent. Lu Ming's battle prowess was truly beyond their expectations. Not every taboo body could be so powerful. In history, the taboo body had not appeared many times, but it was not rare either. Some taboo bodies had fallen before they reached the great accomplishment stage. They did not become famous in the Eldritch universe and were passed down through the ages. In the history of the Eldritch universe, there were four most famous taboo bodies. One was the Life Spirit, the Lord of the Heavenly Court, and the other was the Lord of the Primordial Divine Court. The other two were Fei Huang and Tang Feng. However, these four most famous taboo bodies could not all reach 13-star battle prowess when they were in the Divine Emperor realm. In fact, there was only one person who could surpass 12-star battle prowess and reach 13-star battle prowess in the Divine Emperor realm. That was Tang Feng. The other three did not surpass 12-star battle prowess. They were all at the limit of 12-star battle prowess. Therefore, no one would have thought that Lu Ming could reach 13-star battle prowess before. Even if they knew that the taboo body was very powerful, they would at most think that Lu Ming's battle prowess was at the limit of 12-star battle prowess. The limit of 12-star battle prowess was still acceptable. However, 13-star battle prowess was terrifying. They had to get rid of him. Once such a person reached the great accomplishment stage, it would be a disaster for the Heavenly Palace. Take Tang Feng for example. Many heavenly human tribe experts had died in his hands back then. Until now, many heavenly human tribe members would feel fear at the mention of the taboo sword ancestor Tang Feng's name. They did not want another taboo sword ancestor. Damn it, how could it be? Why is it like this? Yi Chu Tianji, Yi Ling Hongya, Yi Chu Qianyue, and the other heavenly human tribe geniuses who had conflicts with Lu Ming were trembling. Their eyes were full of disbelief. Unwillingness, doubt, and even fear emerged from their hearts. Lu Ming. Di Jianyi whispered. The battle sword on his back kept buzzing and jumping. There was also a strong sword intent on his body. However, it was hidden in the end. There was a trace of unwillingness in his eyes. He had always regarded Lu Ming as his opponent and wanted to defeat Lu Ming. However, he now realized that the gap between him and Lu Ming was too big. There was a huge gap between 11-star battle prowess and 13-star battle prowess that was difficult to cross. No matter what his future achievements would be, at least in a battle of the same level, the gap between him and Lu Ming was too big. Anya Rose's delicate body was also trembling. Her eyes were flickering with shock, fear, and doubt. In her previous life, she was Tang Qing's pet and naturally knew Tang Feng. She had seen Tang Feng fight many times and knew how terrifying Tang Feng was. Was the current Lu Ming in existence like that? She kept thinking in her mind. No one knew what she was thinking. Ha ha ha, amazing. My brother is indeed different. Wanshan laughed. Dandan and Bubbles also wanted to laugh, but because of their respective tribes, they had some scruples and forcibly held back what they wanted to say. Chapter 44-36. Young master will always be number one. Qiu Yu said in a low voice, her beautiful eyes fixed on Lu Ming. There was no surprise in her eyes. Because in her heart, no matter when, no matter where, Lu Ming would always be the strongest and the most dazzling one. What she needed to do was to try her best to keep up with Lu Ming's footsteps and share some of the burden with Lu Ming. Xian Yinqing's face was calm. Everything was within her expectations. Ling Yue's expression was complicated. She looked at Lu Ming again and again. At this moment, Lu Ming became the focal point of the entire place. Just like when Yi Qiuxian revealed his 13-star battle strength. The battle intent in Yi Qiuxian's eyes grew stronger and stronger. The aura on his body also grew stronger. Around his body, the 4 battle swords condensed and revolved around him. Defeating you with your 13-star battle strength is meaningful. In the end, I will prove that I am number one, the true number one. Yi Qiuxian roared as his golden hair fluttered in the wind. His invincible belief was unwavering. Whoosh! He made his move again as he took a step forward. His body was like a ray of light as he charged towards Lu Ming. He held a battle sword in each hand as he slashed towards Lu Ming. The other 2 battle swords attacked in the air. The sky was filled with sword qi and there were 4 different types of sword qi. Heaven's punishment, heaven's extermination, heaven's punishment, and heaven's wrath. Boom! Lu Ming also unleashed his full strength as tens of thousands of light spots lit up all over his body. It was as if tens of thousands of stars were embedded in his body. Tens of thousands of secret techniques and taboo powers combined and exploded. They then gathered into a long spear that was held in Lu Ming's hand. Whoosh! Lu Ming charged towards Yi Qiuxian. The 2 figures met in the middle of the fighting stage with unparalleled power. Their attacks collided once again and a dazzling light exploded. This time, the 2 of them only swayed slightly before they started fighting again. Kill, kill, kill. Fight, fight, fight. The 2 of them roared as they fought. Powerful energy exploded as they charged towards each other. The 2 people's speed was swift to the extreme. In an instant, they clashed over 100 moves. Around them, many people widened their eyes and stared at them. They wanted to see who was stronger. Previously, practically everyone had thought that Yi Qiuxian would definitely obtain first place. But now, everyone dispelled this thought. Lu Ming also had 13-star battle prowess. It was hard to say who would win or lose. Only at the very end of the battle would the victor be decided. This battle would determine who would be number one. Whoever won would be number one. Whoever won would get the best position and be able to better connect to Universe Ocean. The fierce battle on the battle stage continued. In the blink of an eye, the 2 had already exchanged more than 300 moves, but there was still no clear winner. Boom! After another collision, the 2 of them retreated and stood facing each other. At this moment, the battle intent on their bodies had almost solidified. Their gazes were as sharp as divine light as they clashed in the void. Very good. It has been a long time since someone forced me to this extent in a battle of the same level. This is the first time I've felt this way ever since I cultivated the perfect power of heaven. Now, I'm going to use my most powerful killer move to defeat you. Lu Ming, be proud of it. For Extinction Sky Sword Formation. Yi Qiuxian roared as 4 battle swords flew up into the sky. They formed a strange trajectory that was sometimes fast and sometimes slow. Lu Ming's pupils contracted. Yi Qiuxian had used this move before. But previously, it was just 3 types of supreme power of heaven that formed a sword formation. Its power was astonishing. But now, it was 4 types of supreme power of heaven. A perfect sword formation formed by the power of heaven. How terrifying would its power be? Obviously, Yi Qiuxian had not used his full strength in the battle just now. Wang! 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 The 4 battle swords vibrated and sword chi shot up into the sky. As they combined, a huge sword light was formed from the sword formation and slashed towards Lu Ming. Before the sword light arrived, Lu Ming could already feel the immense pressure. Sky-breaking style. Lu Ming immediately used his strongest secret skill. His body turned into a spear and clashed with Yi Qiuxian's sword light. Boom! A light pillar shot up into the sky as the spear light and the sword chi clashed. But after a few breaths, the sword chi suddenly surged and suppressed the spear light. The spear light was pushed back and finally, the sword chi wave hit the spear light completely. Bam! The spear light collapsed and Lu Ming's figure retreated. His face was a little pale and there was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. Not good. The faces of the 10,000 gods, Autumn Moon, Xia Nianqing, Dandan, Bubbles, and the others changed drastically. Lu Ming was at a disadvantage. On the other hand, those from the Heavenly Palace, especially those from the Heavenly Human Tribe, were ecstatic. Lu Ming is no match for him. He's going to lose. In the end, our Heavenly Human Tribe is still stronger. Yi Qiuxian is invincible. What taboo physique! It's nothing in front of our Heavenly Human Tribe. Many celestial beings shouted loudly, venting their own gloominess. Lu Ming, you're going to lose. Sword formation, rise. Yi Qiuxian shouted. His figure appeared in the middle of the 4 battle swords and appeared at the core of the sword formation. He formed a seal with both hands and this time, 4 huge sword lights were formed and slashed towards Lu Ming with unparalleled force. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. His expression was extremely grave. He activated the energy in his body to the extreme. He squeezed out all his energy and continued to activate the heaven-splitting style. His entire being had completely transformed into a long spear, dashing toward the sky. Boom! The spear collided with one of the sword lights and there was an earth-shattering explosion. Then, the spear vibrated and was sent flying. The second sword light had already slashed down. When the spear collided with the second sword light, the spear vibrated even more violently and was also sent flying. Then, the third and fourth sword light slashed down one after another. The entire fighting ring was enveloped by the sword formation and it was impossible to dodge. He could only take it head-on. Block it. Lu Ming roared and braced himself to block it. Boom! After 2 booming sounds, the long spear was cut into 2 at the waist. It then dissipated, revealing Lu Ming's true body. Lu Ming's body smashed into the fighting ring like a cannonball, causing the fighting ring to shake violently. Lu Ming spat out a few mouthfuls of blood and his face was pale. There were several sword wounds on his body. The wounds were very deep and even his bones were broken. His body was almost cut into several pieces. Energy constantly flowed out of the 60 trillion cells in his body, repairing his injuries. However, his aura was still a little weak. That move just now had seriously injured him. At least a few trillion cells had been annihilated in an instant. What a terrifying power. Yi Qiuxian's full power is almost at the peak of 13 star. Lu Ming thought to himself and his face was extremely solemn. His battle prowess had just reached 13 star. The power of Yi Qiuxian's 4 extinction heavenly sword formation was almost at the peak of 13 star. Such combat strength was completely above Lu Ming's. What should I do? Lu Ming's mind raced as he tried to think of a solution. Chapter 44-37. Lu Ming quickly thought of a countermeasure. Yi Qiuxian's 4 extinction heavenly sword formation was simply too powerful. It had already surpassed Lu Ming's current combat strength. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, he wouldn't be a match for Yi Qiuxian even if he went all out. If this continued, he would only lose. Lu Ming. Young Master. Xia Nianqing, Autumn Moon, Dandan Bubbles, and the others were all worried. As for the Heavenly Human Tribe, especially those who had a grudge against Lu Ming, they were overjoyed and laughed loudly. Yes, that's the way. Kill him, no, cripple him. Cripple his cultivation, cripple him, Gabbert roared with bloodshot eyes and a ferocious expression. His face was filled with excitement and anticipation. His angelic wings had been torn by Lu Ming, and his talent and potential had been greatly reduced. It could be said that he hated Lu Ming to the core. At this moment, seeing that Lu Ming was completely at a disadvantage, he was extremely excited. He was looking forward to Yi Qiuxian being able to cripple Lu Ming and avenge him. Lu Ming, it seems like you don't want to admit defeat. Come at me again. Yi Qiuxian roared and activated his sword formation. Another 4 huge sword lights slashed towards Lu Ming. The sword gleams were huge. They charged toward Lu Ming from all 4 directions of the fighting ring. Their speed was extremely fast, completely covering all directions. Lu Ming used his body movement to avoid the 4 beams of sword gleams. However, he realized that it was futile. This was because this area was filled with terrifying sword gleams. No matter which direction or where he dashed from, he would be hit by the violent sword aura. There was no way to evade. Sky-breaking stance. Lu Ming roared and used the sky-breaking stance again. As Lu Ming continued to use the sky-breaking stance, his understanding of the sky-breaking stance deepened and its power gradually increased. However, he still couldn't stop Yi Qiuxian's attack. Boom! 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 After a series of explosions, Lu Ming was defeated once again. His body smashed onto the battle platform and he spat out a mouthful of blood. There were several more terrifying wounds on his body. This was also because his vitality was extremely strong. If it were anyone else, they would already have no strength to continue fighting. Outside the fighting ring, Xian Yanqing and the others looked at Lu Ming worriedly. Young master will definitely win, definitely. Autumn Moon muttered under his breath. He clenched his fists so tightly that his knuckles turned white. Although she trusted Lu Ming very much, the worry in her eyes was no less than that of the others. Is there any other way for me to increase my combat strength? Even now, Lu Ming still hadn't given up. He stared at Yi Qiuxian with bright eyes as he thought of a countermeasure. To be honest, Yi Qiuxian was indeed very strong. Ever since Lu Ming started cultivating, Yi Qiuxian was the strongest among his peers. He had never fought so hard against an opponent of the same level. Yi Qiuxian, who controlled the perfect power of heaven, was truly the strongest in the universe. The perfect power of heaven was said to be able to suppress even taboos. Only very few taboos could contend against it. This wasn't just a saying, it was really too strong. Of course, there was another reason. Yi Qiuxian had probably reached the 13-star level for a long time. The 4 extinction heavenly sword formation had been cultivated to the great success stage. Its power was extremely shocking, causing Yi Qiuxian's combat strength to almost reach the pinnacle of the 13-star level. As for Lu Ming, it hadn't been long since he reached the 13-star level, so he didn't have much time to strengthen himself. If Lu Ming was given more time to cultivate more secret techniques, then his combat strength would increase even more. It wouldn't be impossible for him to reach the limit of the 13-star level. Lu Ming's disadvantage was that the time he had to cultivate was too short. After all, when he entered the Taishang Immortal City, he was only a deity emperor, not a divine emperor. As for Yi Qiuxian, when he entered the Taishang Immortal City, he had already reached the 6th layer of the divine emperor realm. He had even accumulated a lot of energy, and could break through to the divine master realm at any time. In fact, many of the people fighting for the origin seeds had already reached the peak of the 9th layer of the divine emperor realm. They could already break through to the divine master realm. Yi Qiuxian, Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongye were the same. Xian Yanqing and Dark Knight Rose were also the same. After all, when they entered the Taishang Immortal City, their cultivation had already reached the 6th or 7th layer of the divine emperor realm. After entering the Taishang Immortal City, with the help of the Desolate Pill, their cultivation had already reached the 9th layer of the divine emperor realm. The reason why they hadn't broken through was because they had deliberately suppressed their cultivation. Once they broke through to the Divine Master realm, they would only be a low-level Divine Master. How could they compete with the Lord of Heaven? Therefore, they had deliberately suppressed their cultivation to the peak of the 9th layer of the Divine Emperor realm. Their goal was to fight for the origin seeds. As long as they could condense the origin seeds, once they broke through to the Divine Master realm, their cultivation would increase quickly. Lu Ming had broken through to the 9th layer of the Divine Emperor realm from the peak of the Divine Emperor realm in a short period of time. However, it was normal that his battle strength was not as strong as Yi Qiuxian's. Lu Ming, I'll give you a chance. Admit defeat. Yi Qiuxian floated in the air, looking down at Lu Ming from above. He was not in a hurry to attack. He wanted Lu Ming to admit defeat. He wanted to attack Lu Ming's invincible belief. People like them had always been invincible. They had accumulated the belief that they were invincible. This belief allowed them to show off their abilities. They could cut through all obstacles, break through, move forward, and cut through all obstacles. However, once they admitted defeat in front of others, their invincible belief would be severely damaged. In the future, their cultivation and breakthroughs would not be so smooth. This move could be said to be ruthless. He wanted to attack Lu Ming's foundation. Once Lu Ming admitted defeat, Lu Ming would no longer be a threat to Yi Qiuxian. Yi Qiuxian could suppress Lu Ming for the rest of his life. Admitting defeat and being defeated were two different things. It was normal to be defeated. It was normal to be weaker than others. Some people could become stronger after a setback. But if he admitted defeat, it would mean that he was denying himself, and his sharpness would be thwarted. You want me to admit defeat? Yi Qiuxian, you're not qualified. Lu Ming shouted. His body stood up again, tall and straight like a mountain peak. You overestimate yourself. Then I'll kill you on the fighting stage. I'll let the world know that the taboo body is nothing more than this. Kill. Yi Qiuxian shouted coldly. The sword formation was activated. 4 huge sword lights formed again and slashed down at Lu Ming. What should I do? Lu Ming furrowed his brows tightly, pondering continuously in his mind. In an instant, dozens of ideas came to mind. However, they were all rejected by Lu Ming. The reason for that was because none of those methods would be able to stop Yi Qiuxian, nor would they be able to match him. The sword lights were about to slash down. Right, Qi cultivation art. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He thought of Qi cultivation art. Although he was in his present body, and did not cultivate Qi cultivation art. Back when he was in the 5 Elements Immortal Mountain, he had comprehended the hieroglyphs on the golden wall. Chapter 44-38. The hieroglyphs on the golden wall of the 5 Elements Immortal Mountain were a type of Qi refinement art. It was equivalent to the secret arts of the primitive universe. That kind of Qi refinement art was mysterious and powerful. However, given Lu Ming's inherent mindset, he had been using the taboo force and the ancient secret skills that he had mastered during the battle. For a moment, he did not think of the Qi refinement technique at all. Now that he thought of it, Lu Ming decided to give it a try. There was no time to hesitate. Lu Ming quickly formed hand seals with his hands. Whoosh! 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 His fingers were like blooming lotuses. A strange wave spread out from his hand. Then, a ball of flame suddenly condensed, and it quickly grew bigger. Finally, the flame was like a sun. It shone brightly and emitted a terrifying heat. It collided with Yi Qiuxian's sword light. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion. Scorching flames covered the entire fighting stage. Then, the flames exploded. However, Yi Qiuxian's sword light also collapsed. It's effective. I blocked it. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. However, Yi Qiuxian's face darkened. He let out a low roar and the other 3 sword lights were about to hit him. However, Lu Ming's fingers did not stop. He continued to form hand seals for chi refinement art. At that moment, the sound of a sword could be heard. 3 sword lights were condensed between Lu Ming's fingers. They shot up to the sky and slashed at Yi Qiuxian's 3 sword lights. There were 3 consecutive explosions. The 6 sword lights collided with each other and released billions of sword chi. In the end, Yi Qiuxian's 3 sword lights were blocked. The 6 sword lights disappeared at the same time. What? The surrounding people stared with their eyes wide open in disbelief. Lu Ming actually blocked Yi Qiuxian's attack. Just now, Lu Ming was clearly at a disadvantage. He was no match for Yi Qiuxian. After Yi Qiuxian used the 4 extinction heavenly sword formation, each of his attacks caused Lu Ming to be severely injured. But now, Lu Ming suddenly burst out and blocked Yi Qiuxian's sword formation. Could it be that Lu Ming had been hiding his strength? How was that possible? He was already severely injured, yet he was still hiding his strength? What kind of technique is Lu Ming using? It looks very mysterious, but also very unfamiliar. It doesn't seem like any kind of secret technique. Some people were puzzled. Even though the attack was very similar to many of the secret techniques that were currently being used, Zhang Xian's attack was very similar to that of many secret techniques. But only on the surface. The fluctuations produced by Lu Ming's hand seals were incomparably mysterious and unfamiliar. Many people couldn't recognize them. That seems to be a chi refinement art from the last era. Could it be that Lu Ming has mastered a chi refinement art? Someone cried out in alarm, finding it hard to believe. There were many experts at the scene. There were also divine masters of the heavenly human tribe and even heavenly venerables. These people had explored the ruins of the universe and entered the ruins left behind by the previous epoch. They were experienced and knowledgeable, so they immediately recognized that Lu Ming's attack came from the previous epoch. You're talking about the chi refinement attack technique? How is that possible? When the others heard this, they were also in disbelief. After reaching the Divine Emperor and Divine Emperor level, the existing cultivation methods had already been stabilized. It was almost impossible to cultivate a chi refinement art at the same time. It was too difficult. Countless people had tried, but only a few of them could even scratch the surface. However, Lu Ming had mastered a kind of chi refinement attack technique, which was really shocking. How powerful! This chi refinement attack technique is actually so powerful. It's even stronger than my current sky-breaking form. Lu Ming was also shocked at first, but then he was overjoyed. This meant that he had another powerful trump card. However, Yi Qiuxian's face darkened. So what if it's a chi refinement attack technique? My perfect power of heaven and my 4-Ju heavenly sword array can cut through everything. Kill! Yi Qiuxian shouted. 4 kinds of supreme power of heaven burst out and rushed into the 4-Ju heavenly sword array. Buzz! The 4 battle swords kept vibrating and 4 huge sword rays slashed towards Lu Ming. Come on! Lu Ming was excited. His body soared into the sky and his hands quickly formed the hieroglyph seal. This time, it was no longer flames and battle swords. Instead, a few goshawks were formed. They looked up to the sky and let out a long cry. Their sharp claws pierced through the air and grabbed at the 4 sword rays. Another series of explosions rang out. Several of the goshawks were defeated. However, Yi Qiuxian's 4 sword lights were also defeated. Yi Qiuxian's attack was blocked once again. It could not do anything to Lu Ming. Damn it! I don't believe it. Continue, slash again. Yi Qiuxian shouted and continued to activate the sword array. Another 4 sword rays were slashed out. As for Lu Ming, he continued to form seals. This time, a tall mountain emerged and filled the sky, successfully blocking the 4 sword gleams. Ha ha ha, the chi refinement attack technique contained in the hieroglyph seal is really mysterious. It's unpredictable and contains endless mysteries. I'm still far from mastering it. Lu Ming laughed in his heart. He was extremely carefree. The golden light wall of the 5 elements Immortal Mountain didn't contain just 1 or 2 hieroglyph seals. There were many of them. Every hieroglyph seal was a transformation. Therefore, this Qi refinement attack technique contained many transformations. Lu Ming counted carefully. It contained a total of 72 transformations. Moreover, he had a feeling that the more he used it, the more proficient he became. Yi Qiuxian, continue. Lu Ming shouted. This time, he took the initiative to attack. He formed seals and drew the power of heaven and earth. It turned into a battle sword and slashed at Yi Qiuxian's head. Lu Ming intended to use Yi Qiuxian to train his control of the Qi refinement attack technique. After all, he had only comprehended it for a while under the golden light wall. He then used it to break through the golden light wall and entered the golden light wall. After that, he had not used it again. It was inevitable that he would feel a little rusty when he suddenly used it. Yi Qiuxian was no doubt a very good opponent. He could stimulate his potential to the maximum. Damn it! Yi Qiuxian shouted angrily and activated the sword formation. Sword light slashed at Lu Ming. Boom! The two of them exchanged a blow and retreated. However, in the next moment, Lu Ming attacked again. The two of them exchanged blows and fought continuously. Soon, they had exchanged dozens of blows. As they continued to exchange blows, Lu Ming became more and more proficient in using the weapon refinement attack technique contained in the hieroglyph seal. His control also became more and more exquisite. As his control deepened, the power naturally became stronger. Gradually, Lu Ming began to suppress Yi Qiuxian. Yi Qiuxian kept retreating. Seeing this, Xian Yanqing, Qiu Moon, and the others were naturally ecstatic. As for the heavenly human tribe and those who had a grudge against Lu Ming, they were furious. They could not accept this. Impossible, I will not lose. For ultimate heavenly sword formation, explode. Yi Qiuxian roared. He looked a little crazy. He no longer activated the sword gleam. Instead, he personally wiped the 4 battle swords that were condensed from the supreme power of heaven and slashed toward Lu Ming. Boom! When the first ultimate heavenly sword slashed at Lu Ming, it exploded. Yi Qiuxian was going all out. He controlled the ultimate heavenly sword to self-destruct, creating a terrifying power. Chapter 44-39. The first sword was formed by the heavenly punishment energy. When it exploded, the entire area was drowned in pure white lightning. Lu Ming's body was wrapped in layers of lightning. Sizzle, countless lightning bolts flickered with shocking power. Every single one of them could destroy a planet in the chaotic universe. With so many lightning bolts exploding at the same time, the power was imaginable. However, Yi Qiuxian was still worried. He continued to brush past the second combat sword. The combat sword that was condensed from the power of heavenly extermination charged toward Lu Ming before exploding again. Before the heavenly punishment energy dissipated, the terrifying heavenly extermination energy charged towards Lu Ming and drowned Lu Ming. Xian Yanqing, Qiu Yu, and the others couldn't help but worry. More people opened their eyes wide and stared at Lu Ming curiously. They wanted to see if he would be killed. Now, Lu Ming was completely shrouded in the light of the heavenly punishment energy. No one could see what was happening inside. They could only guess if Lu Ming could withstand it or not. However, they soon discovered a problem. That meant that Lu Ming was not dead. Once Lu Ming was killed, he would be revived on the lotus. However, Lu Ming's lotus did not appear. This meant that Lu Ming was not killed. Damn it! Continue to explode. Explode all of them. Yi Qiuxian roared. He charged towards Lu Ming with the last 2 swords and exploded them. The heavenly punishment energy and heavenly extermination energy drowned Lu Ming. Huff, Yi Qiuxian panted heavily. His face was pale, but his eyes were fixed on the other side. Exploding the four extinction heavenly sword formation took a huge toll on Yi Qiuxian. Although he was not injured, the consumption of heavenly punishment energy was shocking. It would be difficult for him to continue to form the sword formation and explode it in a short period of time. He hoped that this move would be able to kill Lu Ming. At the very least, he wanted to seriously injure Lu Ming. He was not the only one. Everyone present, including the reciprocity experts, stared at Lu Ming, who was enveloped by the power of the heavens. Soon, the power of the heavens faded and slowly dissipated. Amidst the power of the heavens, a figure could be vaguely seen. This was naturally Lu Ming's figure. At this moment, one could see that Lu Ming was enveloped by a translucent bell. Cracks could be seen on the surface of the bell. However, it was clear that it had successfully blocked Yi Qiuxian's attack. Lu Ming was unharmed. How is this possible? Yi Qiuxian's body trembled as his face turned even paler. He looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. As for the heavenly humans, including Gabbard and the others, their expressions were ugly. Of course, Xian Yanqing, Mid-Autumn Moon, and Dandan's expressions were the complete opposite of the heavenly humans. Ha ha ha, what did I say? I told you that Lu Ming would be fine. After all, this guy is my follower. How could anything happen to him so easily? Dandan laughed heartily. However, he could not help but shut his mouth when the cold gaze of the Lord of Heaven swept past him. The young master is truly powerful. The young master is invincible. Impressive, Lu Ming. Give these heavenly humans a good thrashing. Ha ha ha. Mid-Autumn Moon, the myriad god race, and the others did not have such concerns. They laughed heartily and attacked the heavenly humans while they were at it, causing their expressions to turn ugly. Bang! The bell around Lu Ming exploded with a bang. Lu Ming stepped out. His long robes fluttered in the wind. He was calm and composed as if nothing had happened. That bell was naturally formed by Lu Ming using the hieroglyphic Qi refinement art. It was used to protect his body. Unexpectedly, its defensive power was so shocking that it could successfully block Yi Qiuxian's strongest attack. Yi Qiuxian, what other skills do you have? Use them all. Lu Ming stepped out and forced his way towards Yi Qiuxian. Zhang Xian swiftly formed a series of hand seals, and a sharp sword materialized in the air. Swoosh! The battle sword expanded rapidly. It was tens of thousands of feet long as it slashed towards Yi Qiuxian. Yi Qiuxian's expression changed drastically. He roared and the power of the heavens exploded once more. Four battle swords formed around him once more. However, this time around, the glow of the four battle swords was much dimmer than before. They were also much smaller than before. After forming the four battle swords, Yi Qiuxian panted heavily. His face was even paler and he was sweating profusely. Previously, he had exhausted too much of his power of the heavens. Now that he was forcefully operating the four ultimate heavenly battle formation, it was very difficult for him. Moreover, its power was also much weaker than before. However, at this time, he could only go all out. For ultimate heavenly sword formation, kill. Yi Qiuxian roared and controlled the four battle swords to fly towards Lu Ming. They collided with the battle swords formed by Lu Ming. Clang! 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 The sound of sword qi clashing resounded through the sky. Then, Yi Qiuxian's four battle swords collapsed and disappeared into nothingness. However, Lu Ming's attack did not stop. After the first battle sword, a battle saber was formed again and slashed towards Yi Qiuxian. The speed of the battle saber was astonishing. With one slash, it was already above Yi Qiuxian's head. Am I going to lose? No, I want to fight until the last moment. Yi Qiuxian roared in his heart. His eyes were filled with unyielding and unwillingness. The power of the heavens in his body bloomed like flames. His entire body was burning as he charged towards Lu Ming and clashed with the battle saber. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion. The saber light flashed and then disappeared. Everyone saw Yi Qiuxian's body being split into two. Yi Qiuxian's body was split into two by the battle saber. Then, with two loud bangs, his body exploded and turned into ashes. Yi Qiuxian was killed. He was killed by Lu Ming on the battle platform. The scene fell into a dead silence. Then, there was an earth-shattering uproar. Damn it, how is this possible? Yi Qiuxian was defeated. How could he be defeated with a 13-star battle strength and the perfect power of the heavens? It's fake, it's fake. This is all an illusion. I don't believe it. Many people from the heavenly human tribe shouted. They found it hard to believe and accept. Yi Qiuxian controlled the perfect power of the heavens and surpassed the 12-star battle strength to reach 13-star battle strength. Throughout the history of the heavenly human tribe, there had only been two such people. Including Yi Qiuxian, there were only 3 of them. Once such a person appeared, they represented invincibility. They could not be defeated in a battle of the same level. But now, Yi Qiuxian was defeated and killed by Lu Ming on the battle platform. This caused the beliefs of many people from the heavenly human tribe to collapse. They began to doubt themselves and their tribe. Was the heavenly human tribe really high up and invincible? Then why would Yi Qiuxian, who controlled the perfect power of the heavens, be defeated? Why would he be killed? Calm down. Victory and defeat are commonplace. Everyone will lose. As long as you become stronger after losing, you will be truly invincible. All of you, wake up. Suddenly, a loud shout exploded like thunder, shaking up the minds of those celestial clan members. Many people from the heavenly human tribe trembled and woke up. Chapter 44-40. A heavenly venerable shouted, waking up many people from the heavenly human tribe, especially some of the young and middle-aged men. These people shuddered and woke up. Then, they broke out in cold sweat. Just now, they had almost lost their faith, leaving behind a heart demon in their hearts. The consequences of that were very serious. It would severely affect their cultivation in the future, making it difficult for them to improve their cultivation. Those geniuses at the 9th layer of the God-Emperor realm might be trapped in the 9th layer of the God-Emperor realm forever. Fortunately, a heavenly venerable woke them up in time. Similarly, the people from the Heaven Destroyer were overjoyed. Lu Ming could be considered as a member of the Heaven Destroyer now. Now that he had killed Yi Qiuxian, it greatly increased the prestige of the Heaven Destroyer and destroyed the morale of the heavenly human tribe. In the void, Fei Huang smiled and muttered to herself, I was right about him. This kid's future is limitless. Even I can't see through him. Amazing. The person that junior sister likes is indeed extraordinary. This kid can't be comparable to Master in the future, right? The third demon sword also muttered. However, he still had a smile on his face. He was happy for Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. The other Origin Realm experts from the Heaven Destroyer also smiled. After this battle, there was no doubt that Lu Ming would take first place. At this moment, Yi Qiuxian's body reformed on the lotus. At the beginning, when he looked at Lu Ming, his eyes were filled with murderous intent. But very soon, he hid it and became calm. Lu Ming, this is only our first battle. We will have many chances in the future. I will definitely defeat you in the next battle. Yi Qiuxian said calmly. He had regained his confidence. This guy is very scary. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. As a peerless genius who had mastered the perfect force of heaven, he was regarded as the most powerful person in the universe. Suddenly, he was killed by Lu Ming on the battle stage. This was a huge blow to him. After suffering such a huge blow, Yi Qiuxian was able to recover in such a short time. One had to admit that this person's temperament was very terrifying. No wonder he was able to cultivate the perfect power of the heavens. I'll wait for your next battle. Lu Ming responded calmly. Although Yi Qiuxian was strong, he was also very confident. No one had ever been able to surpass him after being defeated by him once. Not in the past, and not in the future. This was his belief of being invincible. Yi Qiuxian did not say anything more. His expression was calm. He knew very well that people like them all had incomparably firm beliefs. They all had their own paths that they were determined to walk. No matter how much others said, it was useless. After the battle between Lu Ming and Yi Qiuxian, there were still 9 more matches. However, not many people were paying attention to them. This was because there weren't any more battles that were worth paying attention to. Not long after, the battle for the origin seed of the God Emperor realm came to an end. This battle was really full of ups and downs, making many people feel great in their hearts. That was because no one had been able to guess the result of this battle. The battle situation was unpredictable. Every round, there would be huge changes. It wasn't until the final round that the true result was revealed. Many people's hearts had been on edge the entire time. When all the God Emperor realm battles had ended, the old voice rang out again. The God Emperor realm battles have all ended. Alright, I will now announce the specific rankings. First place, Lu Ming. Second place, Yi Qiuxian. Third place, Xian Yanqing. Fourth place, Dark Knight Rose. First place, you can enter the highest rank. Second to fourth place, you can enter the second rank. Fifth place, Wan Shen. Yi Chu Tianji and Yi Ling Hongya are both sixth place. The old voice continued to announce the names from the 5th to the 13th. This was because these 9 people could enter the third rank. Without a doubt, Bubbles and Autumn Moon had entered the top 13. They had obtained the third rank, the same rank as Yi Chu Tianji and the rest. This made Yi Chu Tianji extremely displeased. He used to be known as the strongest son of heaven with a 12-star battle strength, but now, he was in the same rank as some 11-star battle strength people. In his opinion, this was a great humiliation. It's all because of these guys. Yi Chu Tianji's cold gaze swept over Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Wan Shen and the rest. In his opinion, it was all their fault. If these people had not blocked his path, his ranking would not have been so low. He would have at least entered the top 4. Now, I will send you to the Cosmic Sea. How much you can gain will depend on yourselves. The old voice rang out. Lu Ming and the rest were looking forward to it. What exactly was the Cosmic Sea that could help one comprehend the origin seed? They were all very curious and looking forward to it. As soon as the old voice finished speaking, the lotus roots under the feet of Lu Ming and the rest started to grow crazily. There was a total of 130 people. The lotus roots under their feet kept growing taller and taller, sending them into the sky. About a few minutes later, the lotus roots stopped growing and came to a stop. As for the height of the 130 people, there was an obvious change as well. Lu Ming was high and mighty. He sat at the highest point and looked down at the others. Below him were Yi Qiuxian, Xian Yanqing, and Dark Knight Rose. However, their height was about 10,000 feet shorter than Lu Ming. This was the second rank. Further down was the third rank. It was Wan Shen, Yi Chu Tianji, Yi Ling Hongya, Bubbles, Autumn Moon, Di Jianyi, and the rest. The height of these people was 10,000 feet shorter than the second rank. Then it was the fourth rank and the fifth rank. The height of the latter rank was 10,000 feet shorter than the previous rank. The 5 ranks were like a flight of stairs, clearly separated. At this moment, the lotus petals under their feet suddenly emitted a dazzling radiance. A layer of multicolored light shrouded them. At this moment, Lu Ming was enlightened. He sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes. His heart entered a state of emptiness. The next moment, Lu Ming's soul seemed to leave his body and fly into the vast universe. He was roaming in the boundless universe. Suddenly, a whirlpool appeared and sucked Lu Ming in. He seemed to have entered a tunnel and flew forward at an extremely fast speed. He did not know how long he had flown. It might have been an instant or billions of years. Anyway, Lu Ming could not tell. Suddenly, the tunnel came to an end. Lu Ming flew out of the tunnel and arrived at a strange place. Lu Ming was stunned. He realized that he seemed to have arrived at the sea. No, this was not the sea. However, it was as boundless as the sea. He looked around and realized that there were resplendent multicolored lights in all directions. It was boundless and filled with all kinds of multicolored lights. Chapter 44-41. This feeling is so familiar. It's the feeling of the primitive universe. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He felt that the area he was in gave him a very familiar feeling. This feeling was exactly the same as the feeling the primitive universe gave him. Are these stars? There are also nebulas, galaxies, star regions. Lu Ming looked carefully and found that there were endless stars rotating in the area he was in. There were also galaxies and star regions. And he had become extremely huge. It was as if his palm could cover a star region. And between these galaxies and star regions, there were some multicolored lights. These multicolored lights seemed to be a special kind of energy. They were vast and unfathomable, high and mighty. Lu Ming was familiar with this kind of energy. This was because he could sense it from Origin Realm figures. Also, he could sense a similar aura from the Origin Realm ancient characters Battle and Quantity. Origin. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Was this the origin? This kind of origin was very clear. Lu Ming stretched out his hand to grab the origin and could clearly feel the touch. It was really unbelievable that he could directly come into contact with the origin here. In the primitive universe, the origin was a mysterious and illusory thing. It could only be comprehended, but it could not be touched or captured. But here, he could actually come into contact with it. How easy and fast would it be to comprehend it like this? As expected of the cosmic sea. It was indeed mysterious and unfathomable. It was no wonder that many people wanted to come here. They would rather suppress their cultivation and not break through to compete. What's further away? After sizing it up for a while, Lu Ming was curious again. He found that this area had a boundary. There was a boundary in all directions, and the places further away were enveloped by multicolored lights. It was impossible to see what was behind the multicolored lights. And the places further away gave Lu Ming a strange feeling. The aura was completely different from the aura of the primitive universe. Lu Ming was puzzled. Shaoqing, autumn moon. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Not far away, he saw Xianyanqing, autumn moon, myriad god, bubbles, and company. Lu Ming. Xianyanqing, autumn moon, and the others also saw Lu Ming. They were overjoyed and flew over. However, Lu Ming immediately discovered a problem. He realized that the bodies of Xianyanqing, autumn moon, and the others were much dimmer and more illusory than his. His body was very solid, as if it had materialized. As for Xianyanqing and the others, they were obviously much more illusory. Xianyanqing was still alright, especially myriad god, autumn moon, and company. They were a little hazy and it was obvious that they were not corporeal. Could it be that this is the result of being in a different position? Lu Ming's heart stirred. That was very likely the case. Lu Ming was in the first level, and his body was obviously the most solid. Xianyanqing was in the second level, and his body was second. As for myriad god, autumn moon, and company, they were in the third level, and their bodies were naturally more illusory. One had to know that the origins here could be touched with one's body and could be directly felt. The more solid one's body was, the better the feeling would be. The effect of comprehending the origins would definitely be better. In this way, the difference between the different levels was reflected. Soon, Lu Ming's idea was verified. Because they had discovered others. For example, the people in the fourth and fifth levels. These people's bodies were even more illusory, and some looked like they would collapse at any time. Obviously, the effect of comprehending the origin seed in such a state would definitely be worse. But there was a strange thing, and that was that they did not see a single heavenly human. This was not right. The heavenly human made up the majority of the top 130 who were qualified to connect to the cosmic sea. But now, there was not a single heavenly human here. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and the others fell into deep thought. But after thinking for a long time, they still could not find an answer. Forget it, let's start comprehending the origins. We have to hurry. Lu Ming said. The others also nodded, and then they all found a suitable place to start comprehending the origins. Even though they had more than 900 years, it was still a very short period of time for people at their level. Especially when it came to comprehending the origin. One had to know that when those existences in the origin realm were in seclusion to comprehend the origins, a few stellar years might have passed. Compared to a stellar year, 900 years was a huge difference. Lu Ming chose a place where the multicolored light formed by the origins constantly flowed. Lu Ming rushed in, and his entire body was enveloped by the origins. Suddenly, he had a strange understanding in his heart, as if he had caught something. There's an effect so soon. Lu Ming was overjoyed. The cosmic sea was indeed the cosmic sea. It was indeed mysterious and the effect was astonishing. Originally, with their realm, they were not qualified to comprehend the origins at all. In the primitive universe, with their cultivation realm, they were far from qualified to comprehend the origins. No matter how hard they tried, they would not be able to touch the surface of the origins. Because the difference in realm was too great. Only when their cultivation reached the peak of the Almighty Master realm would they be qualified to touch the origins and comprehend them. If their cultivation was not at the peak of the Almighty Master realm, they would not be qualified. But the cosmic sea had forcefully erased the gap between them, and the effect was very shocking. Of course, this was also related to Lu Ming's position in the first grade. His body was the most solid, and his perception of the origins was the clearest. The others did not have such an effect. Lu Ming collected his thoughts and began to comprehend wholeheartedly. Outside the Grand Supreme Immortal City, everyone only saw Lu Ming and the others sitting cross-legged on the lotus, enveloped by the multicolored light of the lotus, cultivating with their eyes closed. Other than that, there was no abnormality, just like those Almighty Masters. At this moment, the competition for those below the Almighty God Emperor level had also begun. After nearly a year of competition, the results for those below the Almighty God Emperor level had been decided, and a portion of them had successfully connected to the cosmic sea. However, whether the method they used to enter the cosmic sea was the same as Lu Ming and the others, and whether the effect would be the same, was unknown. This was because Lu Ming and the others had only seen the Almighty God Emperor level existences from beginning to end. They did not see any existences of other realms. Time passed quickly, and year after year passed. In the blink of an eye, more than 900 years had passed. The 1,000-year time limit for the Grand Supreme Immortal City to leave was getting closer and closer. In the blink of an eye, there were less than 10 years left before the Grand Supreme Immortal City would leave. Suddenly, boom! A terrifying aura erupted, shaking the heavens and the earth. This aura came from those Almighty Masters who were connected to the cosmic sea. Everyone's gaze turned in that direction. What a terrifying aura! This aura is simply earth-shattering. It's like a universe. The primitive universe is ancient, powerful, and shocking. Some of the people with lower cultivation levels shouted in horror. Chapter 44-42. Those with lower cultivations were shocked. Those with higher cultivations, such as Divine Lords and Origin Realm cultivators, were also shocked. This is. Someone is breaking through to Origin Realm. Someone is about to truly control Origin. Several Origin Realm cultivators spoke one after another. The others were all shocked. Someone was actually about to break through to reciprocity. This was a rare occurrence. How many years would it take for an Origin Realm cultivator to appear in the entire primitive universe? Witnessing someone break through to Origin Realm with their own eyes was a rare event. Who is it? A question popped up in everyone's minds. They used their eyes to carefully observe through the vast space. In the end, everyone's gaze landed on a burly figure. It's him. He's from the Heaven Destroyer. Everyone's hearts trembled. They were all in disbelief. The person breaking through was actually from the Heaven Destroyer. One had to know that the celestial race occupied the top 3 spots in the competition for divine lords. However, this burly man was only 4th. Clearly, the top 3 celestial race cultivators were superior to the Heaven Destroyer in terms of battle prowess, cultivation, foundation, and potential. However, the Heaven Destroyer's divine lord was the first to break through to Origin Realm. As for the top 3 heavenly human clan divine lords, they had yet to make a breakthrough. How could this be? Many people were puzzled. Could it be that the Heaven Destroyer's talent and potential were greater, but his battle prowess was insufficient, which was why he was 3rd? Damn it, the primitive universe really is a barrier to our race. Otherwise, why would we let this person break through first? A celestial exalt from the celestial race growled angrily. However, his voice was suppressed, so no one else could hear him. Only a few people from the celestial race could hear him. There's nothing we can do about it. If our race wants to break through, we have to pay an even greater price. Therefore, we can't let the forbidden body grow, or it'll affect our race even more. Another celestial exalt spoke. That's right. It's best to get rid of the forbidden body. The 3rd celestial exalt spoke. He was very young and wore golden armor. He held a golden spear in his hand, making him seem like an invincible war god. He was Yilushengxiang, the sworn enemy of the 3rd demon sword. The conversation between the celestial exalts revealed a huge secret. Unfortunately, no one else could hear it. All right. On Heaven Destroyer's side, the white-haired Origin Venerate stroked his beard and laughed loudly. The 3rd demon sword and the others also smiled, unable to contain their joy. As long as this person succeeded in breaking through, Heaven Destroyer would have another Source Venerate. Source Venerables were too important. They were the true pinnacle of battle power in the universe. Every additional one was extremely important. There were over 10,000 powerful races on the desolate universe's myriad races, but only the top 10 races possessed reciprocity experts. Of course, other races might possess reciprocity experts as well, but they would be extremely rare as phoenix feathers or Qilin horns. If the Heaven Destroyer could gain another reciprocity expert, it would be great news for the Heaven Destroyer. The people on Heaven Destroyer's side were very happy and secretly hoped that this person would succeed in breaking through. As for the heavenly human tribe, they were praying that this person would fail. Roar. The burly figure let out a loud roar as his body left the lotus and floated in the void. Then, his body started to expand rapidly. In the end, he turned into an indomitable figure. This was a primordial divine spirit, a pure primordial divine spirit. He had the head of a dragon and the body of a human. He was extremely huge and a vast aura spread out in all directions. He roared at the sky as he tried to break through to reciprocity. Lord Long Fan is about to break through to reciprocity and become an over-god. There were a few primordial divine spirits in the surroundings. They were all divine masters and they were all excited. An over-god was the highest level of primordial divine spirits. It was equivalent to a source venerate or a heavenly venerate of the heavenly human tribe. Long Fan was the name of the primordial divine spirit who was trying to break through to reciprocity. He was an existence who had lived since the incipient god era. He was extremely powerful and had accumulated a lot of power. This time, he had connected to the cosmic sea and obtained its help to break through the bottleneck and attempt to break through to reciprocity. Of course, breaking through to reciprocity did not mean that he would succeed. Failure often meant death, so many people were very nervous. Roar. Long Fan roared continuously. His indomitable body swelled up like a balloon as if it would explode at any time. His aura became more and more terrifying. Everyone waited and watched. They knew that this was the critical moment of the breakthrough. Either he would succeed or he would fail. However, Long Fan was still under the protection of the Taishang Immortal City. No one could affect his breakthrough. Otherwise, the people of the Heavenly Palace would have taken action long ago to interrupt Long Fan's breakthrough. Now, they could only watch helplessly. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. At this moment, Long Fan's aura had reached its peak. The void was constantly trembling under his aura. However, the others who were connected to the cosmic sea on their respective lotuses were not affected at all. They were enveloped by the light of the lotuses, which cut off all senses of the outside world. The people outside could not attack them, and they could not sense what was happening outside. Therefore, the others, including Lu Ming and the others, were still quietly cultivating. Break! Suddenly, Long Fan roared. His long hair fluttered, and his originally powerful aura suddenly increased by a notch. Buzz! At this moment, everyone felt as though the entire universe was trembling. Then, a shocking scene appeared. All the stars in the universe shone brightly at this moment. All the stars were several times brighter than before. Then, from all over the universe, rays of light rushed in this direction. They were too fast. In just a few breaths, they had crossed the endless universe and rushed into Long Fan's body. This is the resonance of the universe. He succeeded in breaking through. Someone exclaimed. The hearts of the others were beating wildly. Legend had it that the universe would resonate when one broke through to the origin realm. The stars would shine as if they were cheering. Just now, such a phenomenon had appeared. This was enough to show that Long Fan had succeeded in breaking through. If he failed, he would not resonate with the universe. Origin was the most fundamental thing in the universe. Once one broke through and controlled the origin, one's lifespan would coexist with the universe. Every action would be closely related to the universe. Therefore, it could cause the universe to resonate. It was said that when someone in the origin realm died, the universe would also resonate. Long Fan was enveloped by the endless rays of light from all over the universe. These rays of light all merged into Long Fan's body in the end, forming a golden mark between Long Fan's eyebrows. The golden imprint flashed and disappeared. After controlling an origin, Long Fan has officially become an overgod. Fei Huang smiled faintly. Chapter 44-43. Long Fan had officially stepped into the origin realm, and the Heaven Destroyer had gained another peak powerhouse. This made the people of the Heaven Destroyer overjoyed. Some were happy, while others were sad. The people of the heavenly human tribe had gloomy expressions. In particular, the Divine Lord Existences looked at Long Fan with complicated expressions. They were originally in the same realm as Long Fan. Although Long Fan was strong, they were on the same level. But now, Long Fan had leaped through the Dragon's Gate and reached the origin realm in one fell swoop. He was no longer someone they could compare to. As long as the origin realm was not killed, they could live as long as the universe. As long as the universe was not destroyed, the origin realm would not be destroyed. Only when the epoch changed and the universe was destroyed would the origin realm be destroyed. This was the ultimate goal of countless beings in the universe. No matter how strong the Divine Lord was, they could not withstand a single blow from the origin realm. Slowly, the cosmic phenomenon disappeared. Long Fan's aura stabilized, and his body returned to its normal size. He opened his eyes. His gaze was like a divine sword that pierced through the void. Then, he took a step forward and rushed out of the area covered by the light barrier, appearing beside Fei Huang and the others. He had broken through and reached the origin realm. He had lost the right to continue comprehending the origin realm. Long Fan, congratulations. Fei Huang, the third demon sword, and the others came to congratulate him with smiles. I would also like to thank all of you for your help and support. Long Fan clasped his fist in return. He was very polite, but his expression was more relaxed. He was not as restrained as before. He was only a divine lord in the past. Although he had lived for countless years, he was much older than Fei Huang and the others. But cultivation knew that those who reached the origin realm were the seniors. Fei Huang and the others were far above him. In the past, he had to be respectful in front of Fei Huang and the others. Now, there was no need. He was also in the same realm. He could talk to them as equals. Time passed slowly amidst the congratulations from the Heaven Destroyer. Soon, the scene returned to calm. They continued to wait. 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. Buzz. At this moment, the Taishang Immortal City trembled slightly. Mysterious patterns flashed on it. Then, the light barrier that covered Lu Ming and the others disappeared. The lotus flowers under the feet of Lu Ming and the others also disappeared. Initially, Lu Ming was focused on comprehending the origin in the universe C. All of a sudden, he felt a powerful force pulling him toward a certain direction. The speed was beyond his imagination. Before Lu Ming could react, he felt his body tremble. He couldn't help but open his eyes. He was back. Lu Ming found that he had already left the cosmic sea and returned to the primitive universe, returning to the sky above the highest supreme immortal city. 950 years have passed. So fast. Lu Ming's heart stirred. When he was cultivating in cosmic ocean, he could not feel the passage of time at all. He felt that he had only been cultivating for a short period of time. Unexpectedly, more than 900 years had passed. How is your comprehension of the origin source coming along? With a thought, Lu Ming quickly used his inner perception to check the situation. In the next moment, he discovered a bright ball of light in his divine sense. This was a round bead about the size of a longan fruit. It was neither gold nor stone, and it was circulating with a mysterious aura. Origin source. Lu Ming sensed it and knew that the aura circulating on the longan fruit was the aura of the origin source. It was very dense and condensed. Origin source seed, this was the origin source seed. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He had condensed the origin source seed. On the origin source seed, the power of the origin source turned into countless tiny threads that flowed through Lu Ming's body, nourishing Lu Ming and improving Lu Ming at all times. With the nourishment of the origin source, Lu Ming could come into contact with the origin source at all times. This was very helpful for his future cultivation. When he broke through from the Divine Master realm to the origin realm, the help would be even greater. It was equivalent to having a foundation in advance. It would naturally be much easier for him to break through than others. Lu Ming's mind stirred and he began to control the origin source seed. Immediately, the power of the origin source seed poured into Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming had a feeling that his hands were now filled with terrifying destructive power. The power of the origin source seed can be used to attack. That's great. Lu Ming was overjoyed. But soon, Lu Ming calmed down. After all, this was just an origin source seed. The power of the origin source it contained was very little. Even if it could be used to attack, Lu Ming estimated that it could only be used for one attack. After one attack, the power of the origin source seed would be exhausted and need to slowly recover. Therefore, this could not be used as a common method to fight enemies. It could only be used as a trump card at a critical moment. However, even if it only had the power for one attack, Lu Ming was still secretly delighted. This was the power of the origin source. How powerful was the power that only people at the level of a heavenly venerable lord and a Xinyuan venerable could control? Lu Ming was very curious about how powerful this attack would be. He was also looking forward to it. Unfortunately, he could not try it now. However, Lu Ming was sure that it would definitely be much more terrifying than his current strongest attack. Otherwise, how could he live up to the name, Origin Source? Collecting his thoughts, Lu Ming looked around. Yi Qiuxian, Xian Yanqing, Qiu Moon and the others had already woken up. Like Lu Ming, they all checked with their inner senses. Most of them smiled after checking it out. However, there were also a few people who looked gloomy and even wailed. I didn't get anything. My origin source seed. Where's the origin source seed? Did I fail to comprehend it? Impossible, impossible. No, this is not the result I wanted. No, some people wailed and wailed. Clearly, these people had failed to comprehend the origin source seed and did not condense it. They had fought so hard in hopes of condensing the origin source seed and increasing their potential. Not only did they want to reach the Divine Master realm in the future, but they also wanted to comprehend the origin source realm. However, they had failed to condense the origin source seed. Like the others, it would not be so easy for them to reach the origin source realm in the future. They had originally held great hope, but it turned into despair in the end. This difference was unbearable for these people. Let's go. Let's go near Senior Fei Huang and the others. Lu Ming sent a message to Xian Yanqing, Qiu Moon and the others. Then, they all flew toward Fei Huang and the others. Now, they were still within the range of the Taishang Immortal City. Everyone was suppressed. The people of the heavenly human tribe naturally did not dare to make a move. However, 1,000 years had passed. The Taishang Immortal City could leave at any time. At that time, the people of the heavenly human tribe would probably make a move. Therefore, they could only guarantee their safety by going to Fei Huang and the others. Lu Ming, let's meet again in the future. Brother Lu Ming, I'll find a chance to see you in the future. Dandan and Bubbles did not follow Lu Ming and the others. Instead, they sent a message to Lu Ming and returned to the experts of their respective races. The World Turtle Clan and the Spacetime Spirit Mouse Clan naturally sent experts. You're tuning in to the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.